Hey, we're here with another Cartridge Club Hangout. I'm here with Musty. How's it going?
I'm doing great. We're live. Notification. It works.
Huzzah. Always good to check in every few weeks to make sure that actually works.
Yeah. It's also good if you're ever doing test drives or tests and stuff and you don't actually want to go live. That'll warn you if you actually have. But
Yep. So how's it
yeah,
going?
that's going all right. Been keeping busy in this August. It's been nice. I've put in like a bunch of time into Final Fantasy VI lately. That's way bright. Um, So I'm making good progress, although I just played for about 45 minutes and ended up losing all of that progress, which kind of stunk. But it's all right.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, I thought I had saved, but oh well. Oh well. Yeah.
Yeah, at
No,
least you're
things
getting
are
something
going.
playing.
Yeah, I mean, I it's funny because like I told myself like August was going to be, because I'd played through Super Mario World, in early July, so I kind of got that out of the way, and now I've got all this time, and I'm not actually like churning through stuff the way that I had hoped because I decided to knock out one of the big ones that I told myself I was going to get done this year. Um, but I picked up some things.
Nice. I picked up absolutely nothing, so
Uh oh. Yeah. Um, Trying to think if I the all the talk right now is that uh sorry, I'm finally pulling up the chat. There we go. Um, I should say hi, Cartridge Fun. Thanks for
hey.
dropping by. Um, I assume at some point tonight we'll talk about the whole Nintendo didn't go like the whole Emu Paradise stuff. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, probably come up.
I'm super. I think I don't know. The arguments that are out there are all over the place, and I don't know what we're actually arguing. Like I don't understand what we're arguing. It's like everyone wants to complain about it, but nobody is like, let's go do something about it.
Yeah, it's
And
like we get it, but
right, it's like yes, I understand things haven't been done correctly, and uh, that it's potential detriment to everybody. But if all we're gonna do is sit here and just try and say like, well, this is wrong and this is wrong and this is wrong, and nobody does anything, then what's the point in talking about it? Um, like I understand the facts. I watched Daria's video that she put out today, which was pretty succinct and kind of laying everything out. But all it does is points out the fact that um, the movie industry, the early movie industry, went through this same kind of thing where they weren't
they weren't
doing a
preserving
good job
anything.
of archiving their silent movies, and so most silent movies are gone,
Yep.
right? Just because of a lack of proper storage or proper archival methods. And so, you know, I get that. But how do we like? Do we expect we're just going to be all noisy and then Nintendo is going to do something about it? That's what I don't understand is what all this belly aching is going to do. Yeah, it sucks that there's a site that's gone. That there are sites that have actively decided to remove themselves from the equation because they see what this one guy who's in a load of trouble. Like that guy's this one guy that the suit came up against is he's pretty much screwed. like,
Yeah, I haven't really looked into it a whole heck of a lot, but I assume they're making an example of somebody. That
like fines in the order of $100 million.
oof.
Yeah,
Are they a major uploader or
I have no idea who the guy is.
okay?
Never heard of him before. I also am not one who goes after that stuff. But yeah, I mean it's a bummer that a site like Emu Paradise is gone, because the one argument is that there's all this other stuff that isn't their IP, that this site is basically just cutting themselves out because they're afraid of Nintendo coming after them.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the real issue for me, is I would be absolutely fine if they said, take all our first-party stuff we have licensing rights for and plans to sell in the future off.
Yeah.
Anyone else that wants to do the same can come after you for their own property. We do not have... Nintendo does not have the right to tell anyone to do anything with anyone else's intellectual property. It's like, whether they're mismanaging or not, whether it's illegal or not, because no one else is doing anything with it. Like, I think I used this as an example, just like as an off to the side example of like a licensed movie game, of specifically like the NES version of Batman Returns. A game most people don't even know it friggin' exists, because people only talk about the Genesis or Super Nintendo one. No one's probably going to renew the license for that specific movie license game. Quality aside for any of these things, it's about like keeping these things available for people to try in the future. Nintendo doesn't really have a say other than it was on the NES. So the whole like entire thing at once part of it is the thing that's sketchy. Because it's like, if anyone wants to come out and relicense any of these games and start selling them again, great, you have every right to say stop putting our crap up for free. But if no one's saying anything, then the people putting it up for free are the only ones putting it up at all.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
there's no other way to get it.
Yeah, it's tough, and you know, I don't know. I'm not going to pretend that I have there's no silver bullet for this whole thing, and there's no easy way to fix what, you know, Nintendo's business practices are. You know, I heard somebody equate them to wanting to be Disney, and you know, treating their stuff like the vault.
Yeah, put everything in the vault.
Right, but you know, I don't know. It is what I hate to say it is what it is, and to kind of use that as a way to dismiss things, but it is what it is.
Yeah, a little bit, but I think the only really good example of what to do with like old video games would be, you got to reach the level of iTunes with something in terms of availability. It's like, people stop pirating music when it's cheap and easy to get. So you have to do the same thing with games. It doesn't have to be $1 a game. That's nonsensical, unless it's like really simple stuff like Pong. But like, that would be nice to have like those old arcade games that are really simple, have like those for $1 a piece. Everyone would love that. People do that on the phone already. Like, that's kind of the example you have to go for. It's like $1, $5, $10 for these older type, simpler games. Just have them all available, and you'll just make however much money you make. It's better than people pirating it.
Yeah, so Kevin brings up a good point that Emu Paradise was using Nintendo branding, so they knew that they were probably in hot water. So even if they eliminated the Nintendo, like every scrap of Nintendo something on their site, I think they could probably still, I don't know what the statute of limitations is for having profited off of it.
Yeah, but it's kind of like, I get the point there. That's definitely a good point. But like you could kind of make a similar argument for people doing like fan art, because it's like that's putting Nintendo branding on something. So like, where do you stop there? I get this is like people making their own custom thing and selling it just for fun for the most part, and not like specifically saying they are official goods. But I don't think Emu Paradise was claiming they were official goods either. So, and that's piracy versus just like something fans are doing for fun that's not really infringing on anything specific. So yeah, it's a weird area.
It's still worth noting that they didn't come after Emu Paradise. Emu Paradise got out before they got chased out. What they could potentially do, maybe they're not inclined to do that at this point, is to let's get everything off, and then let's start to slowly bring back the things that are outside of Nintendo's realm, unless by Nintendo setting a standard of going after this one guy. then all these other companies may all of a sudden decide, oh, like NEC may go, oh, you know what? All that turbo stuff, gotta go, right? Like,
yeah, we're gonna release the TurboGrafx Mini.
right, yeah. But yeah, like what is there? There is no common what's the term? Once things have been out for a certain amount of time, they become just everyone can use them.
Public domain.
Public domain. There it is. Like the Happy Birthday song.
Yeah, I don't think any games have reached that point yet. It's like, what, 70 years or something like that? And maybe after the death of the main license holder, but I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
That comes up so infrequently in my brain that the details are probably mixed.
It's like the first Disney cartoons are there, but that's about it.
Yeah, like there's things that should be like probably Dracula and stuff like that, but aren't for whatever reason.
Yeah. That is a good point, that Dracula as a character is a is a fictional character that has been now just sort of, everyone uses him. Everyone uses the mummy. Everyone uses the werewolf. Like at some point, granted, we didn't have the legal stuff, the legalese that we do now. At some point, those things were like somebody's
intellectual property,
some individual person's intellectual property. Yes.
Yeah, I was referring specifically to like the Universal films, but
gotcha.
Yeah, because you'll see like different versions of Dracula all over the damn place. There was this Marvel Comics Dracula in the 70s that had it's like mustache Dracula. I like to jokingly refer to it as. Pretty cool, like Tomb of Dracula comic. Nice, fun, corny time. But like that's just one example. It's not like I have comics on the brain right now or anything. Anyway,
yeah.
Back to the actual.
I don't know. And it's just it's tough because everyone wants to. There's a bunch of people who are like, Nintendo didn't do what they should have done weeks ago, months ago, years ago. So why start now? Like that's a lousy, thought process to have, because they have every right to do whatever they want to do, but just because I don't know, they aren't also fulfilling the other kind of obligation, which is to make sure that these things are finite can be available for the indefinite future.
Yeah. Anyway, just to stop for a second. Hey, Chris.
Hi. Hello, Chris.
And Yoshi, who's not actually on or unmuted yet.
He's asleep in a watermelon patch.
I was going to say, Nintendo's always walked to the beat of their own drum anyway, when it comes to most things in the video game industry, too. So nobody really knows their motives, really, doing it now.
Well, I bet it has to do. It has yen in front of it or behind it. Absolutely has to. I mean,
probably something to do with them setting up their current eShop with whatever they're going to roll out for their new service. That's next month, isn't it?
You mean the 20 Nintendo games that are probably the same Nintendo games that we've all purchased and bought for 1 billion times already, and have had every freaking system.
Backwards compatibility and carry forward is a different argument, but definitely important.
That's literally what they're putting on the service, is 20 NES games.
20. I know, but that's what they've announced.
And watch, they're going to be the same games that are already on the NES Classic.
Which is fine. That's kind of the point. Keep those games available. If you're going to take them down off somewhere that's giving them away for free, make sure you have them for sale.
Yeah. And I guess there's always that appeal to keep re-releasing them to new generations of gamers, too.
Yeah.
So.
But anyway, my point is, if you want the old ROMs, I suggest you go find them now and just download full sets.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to be around very much longer.
Here's the thing. Anyone who really wanted those ROMs could have and should have done it already. Like what? Why are we waiting until now? Like why now do so many people care? Like doesn't 3/4 of the internet already have all of these things downloaded in some capacity? Like,
I have full sets on my computer.
Right. So I mean,
think of everything like
so
TurboGrafx.
you're covered as long as your computer never dies, right?
Well, even if the computer dies, as long as the hard drive doesn't die.
Yeah.
And even then, if I notice my hard drive's dying, you back it up. Which might be a good idea to do anyway. Just back them up.
Yep.
I mean, when the true apocalypse comes and we don't have electricity, or do we really need to care about ROMs? Like,
no.
I'm being silly.
The zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, like, oh man, I wish I could play that Super Ghouls and Ghosts right about now. Like,
yeah, but I think the end of the argument really is just the real issue isn't that they took down ROM sites; it's that there's nothing really legitimate to take its place.
Right.
It's not an issue of them taking down stuff that people are pirating their stuff. That's just like they don't have anything else to put there for people to get it legally.
Right.
And that's just kind of the ongoing issue.
And the issue with that is that no one has, aside from the PC, Kevin, I'm going to give you credit on this one, no one has come up with a console system, which all of these are console games, right? Like, where that stuff can live forever. And so effectively, you know, we get a reboot every 5 years, every 6 years to here's this new architecture. And so Nintendo can't, like, if all Nintendo did was say like, hey, here's the NES library again, because you used to play it here, is that really going to make people happy? Like, I don't believe that it will.
It's going to make people happier than not having it at all.
Sure.
On the current platform. Like, people want to play everything on the Switch. So, like, not having that classic library available over a year in is an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless if it carries over purchases from the Wii U or anything else.
Yeah.
Which, again, separate issue.
Here's another question then. If they had launched the Switch and their eShop virtual console, whatever the replacement name for that whole architecture is, if that had been there at launch, would we be as upset about it now? Like, because
some people still would.
We're 18. We're 18 months in and we don't have any of that. The eShop is just, I mean, the eShop has become hey, we're going to put 30 games a week out on this thing. And, you know, 95% of it is going to be substandard compared to what we're, you know, compared to, you know, some will bubble to the top. You'll get your Dead Cells, you'll get your Shovel Knights, you'll get your Celestes and stuff like that. But
90% of the Switch eShop is garbage.
Yeah, they're easy ports because the system is capable of easy ports. But
everybody's porting their phone games.
But the system sells, and people are crazy about it. And it still doesn't have, that, right? Like, yet it still sells. And so I don't know why Nintendo would even be motivated to rush to put that stuff on there. I mean, at this rate, the Xbox backwards compatibility team is going to figure that out long before Nintendo does, and we'll be playing NES games on our Xbox Ones or something. Right?
Yeah. There's also something Nintendo doesn't realize is a lot of people don't know how to hack the NES Mini. They go find someone that does, and then end up paying them like $100 for it. Which is literally what's happening to most of the NES Minis. Same thing with like Raspberry Pis. A lot of people don't understand how to make those work properly. They have to pay someone to do it for them. Which is a whole different can of worms. But yeah. I understand why, but at the same point, it's kind of pointless. Because you're still going to be able to find them via torrents and stuff like that, but You won't be able to find like single games for what is it? You're not going to be able to find just single games to download on a safe website. It's pretty much the gist of it now. It's the only people that are going to be willing to put this stuff up are going to be people that are in certain countries where there are no copyright laws and you can basically do whatever the hell you want. But those countries also usually have websites that are full of viruses and all sorts of other crap. So, go get your ROMs now, people.
But hey, as long as, I mean,
What?
I don't have anything else to say on that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure Kevin will when he gets in here. But yeah, if you know, like there are PC solutions for old PC games, like that exists, like that is a thing. But it wasn't a thing for a while until you got a very dedicated group of people who really cared about it and wanted to take it over. But you also didn't have a lot of the old companies that ran those a lot of people who ran those were like, those companies aren't in business anymore. Like, Sierra's not around anymore, right? Like, am I correct in that? Or maybe they are, but there are examples of companies out there that are no longer out there. Yet you still have this dedicated group like GOG who, have some layer of dedication to try to try and get this stuff working. So, is that Tim?
Hey, what's up?
Yeah. Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, not too bad. I just saw the Cartridge Club link on Twitter, so I just figured I'd jump in, just chill at my parents' house in Nova Scotia.
Yay! Nice. You should try to find P2.
I was just in Halifax a few days ago too, but kind of more passing through.
Yeah.
No P2.
P2, that's a name I haven't heard in a very long time.
P2 Brute.
A long time.
Yeah. I haven't seen both of the Cartridge brothers in a very long time.
Well, there. Somebody should try
Living
to
life.
I mean, one of them is
somewhere on the ocean.
On the high seas, right? Yeah.
Living that pirate's life.
The other's adulting.
Yeah, for sure. Adulting and playing his Switch and his Vita.
In his closet.
Yeah, has he strapped it to his face well in his closet yet? I mean, it would work with the Joy-Cons, just like have it on his face, like.
Cannot confirm. Those levels in Captain Toad would be pretty good with that.
Maybe. I really need to play more of that.
The cart levels.
It's a good one. Play some of that.
It's a fun time.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So, who is playing Super Mario World?
Super Mario what?
World?
I
played it years ago.
I think I'm on World 6. I need to go back to it.
I should 3-word reviews. Get them out there. There's still time.
I'll get back into Toronto until the 20th, but I'll probably fire up the SNES Classic after that. Oh, sorry, SNES Classic. I don't want to offend anybody's sensibilities.
Ooh, we should talk about that.
NES.
Yes.
Oh boy.
How the people on Nintendo say NES.
Wasn't there like Yeah, where did they officially? There was something that they officially said it.
I'm not sure about official. Like I used either one. I didn't think there was a wrong way to say it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I made some video on Super Nintendo. It was like a top 10 list, and I just started getting beat up in the comments. It's like, dude, you're saying SNES? You sound like a chump. Fuck you.
Yeah, that sounds like.
Then again, even if you said whatever the correct one is to them, they would probably still be saying that to you, or other people.
Someone else would be. Yeah.
No, yeah, there's always
Nobody.
Interchangeable, really.
Yeah, there's always going to be a contrarian on the internet. That's
the
beautiful part about the internet, I guess.
Yeah. Obviously, the most correct way would be SNES, but who cares if you say SNES? It's just shorthand.
But SNES.
That's a little much.
As long as you're not trying to call Mario Luigi or some stupid shit like that, like who cares?
Yeah, one of the few one of the few video game mispronunciations that like gets me is Ninja Gaiden. And it's like, this is a community that has likely watched The Wizard multiple times. They tell you how to pronounce it in that movie. If you're not going to accept any other source except that.
Ninja Gaiden.
When I was a kid, I used to call it Ninja Gaiden or Gaiden.
Yeah, that's fine. It's just you didn't know any better.
Oh, exactly right. It was like 9, maybe.
Yeah, not to make another comic book reference, but before it was said in any kind of form, people reading the X-Men comics would read Magneto, not knowing it was any different. I'm sure.
Well,
and people are still discovering that it's Xavier, not Xavier. But I will still say Xavier for X-Men, but only that.
I get that. Like, I remember going back to the whole Street Fighter 2 thing. Like, first time I saw the characters, I was like, ooh, Keen and Gully and Beeston, and it's like, you just don't know any better sometimes.
Yeah, but it's like when people stick to it is the thing.
Yeah, I mean, well, here's the thing: if you want to use Earthbound as a basis, Mother wasn't the kid's name was Ninten, right? The main character, his name was Ninten.
Sure.
And then in Earthbound, his name is Ness. Interesting.
You mean like the NES version, or?
Yeah. So on Mother. Yeah, I don't know on the Famicom version. Yeah, the kid's name is Ninten.
Yeah, the original. Yeah, Mother 1's Ninten. Mother 2 is Ness, and then they went with something completely different for 3. Oh boy.
Having never played Mother 3, was Lucas the main character of 3, or was he just the one they put in Smash?
I don't know.
Well, that is
I haven't played Earthbound, so there's that.
I had a repro cart. I picked up a Fan Expo a few years ago, and I played it through. It was called Earthbound Uncut. It was like basically... It was like the same version of the game, but they kept all the alcohol references and things like that I guess they didn't make the localization when it came to the West. So there's like little things like, guys getting drunk off whiskey and one woman who swears that all children are terrible and should just be struck by a bus and die.
I have the actual card.
Whoa.
It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful.
I bought it when I got it when I was a teenager. Or a little kid for like $5.
Oh!
Ha internet. Ha. Because that wasn't a $200 game. That was not a $200 game until about 10 years ago. When everybody on YouTube started making videos. There really
were no $200 games at that point, right?
Yeah, because nobody was making tons of videos on it, and retro gaming didn't hit this giant inflation bubble that it's currently in.
Yeah.
Like, if you go and look, like, say, on video game price charting, you can watch the price of every single game go way up over the past 10, 15 years. That's basically what's happened.
Is the YouTube economy really a big part of that? Like,
yes.
a big YouTuber will post a video and the prices will go up because of that? I've heard things.
Yes.
I bought
they literally do.
I bought Shatter.
Sorry, I know you're... Oh, sorry.
I think I I bought Shatterhand after let's see, John Hancock mentioned it on Metal Jesus Rocks as a hidden gem. I think it jumped up to like $80, and I noticed it recently. It's dropped down to like 50 or 60 since I guess that's died off.
For fucking Shatterhand? I mean, I like Shatterhand, but $50 or $80.
Yeah, I was looking at game value now today, and some games, at least by their algorithm that calculates the price, like is lower than I expected. Like Battletoads Double Dragon, which was easily an over $100 game last spring, it is like $70 or $80 now. Like things are either they're doing something to kind of correct that and kind of get rid of some of the like fringe purchases, or maybe the stuff that the one sale that kind of throws everything off. Yeah.
I'm not sure if like channels like Metal Jesus so much affect it, but like definitely large channels like Angry Video Game Nerd, he'll do a video, and for sure that's going to affect it. Depending on the game, for how long.
Was it Sky Kid? Sky Kid had that happen.
Maybe?
They played it on a Monday, and it was up from a $6 to a $20 game in like 2 days.
To throw this out here, I know retro game store owners, and they tell me they can tell when some big YouTuber makes a video on something because they get tons of kids coming in going, "Hey, do you have this game?" And before, they had no interest in that game whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the point, which is great, but the price hiking is the actual problem.
That's why it happens, is because lots of copies disappear real quick, so the prices shoot up.
Yeah, I've got a very large profanity-laced rant on that, but this probably isn't the place. But I was at my local game store just here in Sydney, Nova Scotia, just visiting. I haven't been here in forever, and I went to check out one of the used game places there, the only one really. $40 for a fucking box Sonic 2, which may or may not even have the manual.
That's a bit much.
I bought that.
That's about twice as much as it should be.
$10. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's about twice as much as it should be. I'm still kept in the loop of how much most stuff should be, because I do go to a game store that actually tries to do fair market value on everything. He's not one of these assholes that's like $20, $30 more than eBay on everything. There's been a ton of stores that do that shit, and it's annoying as hell.
Yeah.
But somebody will pay it, and that's the crazy part.
Actually, most people won't.
Most people won't, but you don't.
Especially when you
don't make money by catering to most people. You find the whale, or you find that person who is gonna
be better.
Yeah, the person who's like, this is the only game I ever cared about, and I found it here. I need to have it.
Yeah, or
I don't care how much it is.
Power Rangers on Super Nintendo. I'll pay $25 for that.
Be like, wow, that's super cheap compared to games. To like a brand new game. Like
with certain games, that's why certain games are like $30. Like for example, the game of the month, Super Mario World, that's a $30 NES card. Why? Not because it's rare or anything, or there's not very many copies. It's because it's in so high demand. Everybody that buys a Super Nintendo wants Super Mario World. And the hard part for game stores is the only way for those game stores to get inventory is somebody has to go through their closet and decide they don't want the games anymore. A collector has to die, which is like the harsh truth of it, or something similar, where basically or the collector gets married and's trying to buy a house.
Yeah, or if
something like that.
Someone just finds a copy and comes to trade it in.
That usually doesn't happen.
I just took pictures. I took pictures yesterday when I went to the game store. I was just looking at Super Mario World because I just remember there were 2 copies of it there. $40 a piece.
Mm.
But you're also in Canada, where the money's not worth as much. So that's also got to be taken into account.
Well, you're not wrong on that.
Yeah.
I still think it's mostly the owners are just being greasy, but that's just me.
Yeah, a lot of good Canadian stores won't do that. I wish I had some near me.
Well, most will, and that's the problem, right?
Yeah. But I thought of an example of like a relatively near to me store where they said like they will. I think it's a Link to the Past. They will like as soon as their copy goes, they will go and find a game copy of it for however much it is, buy it, and then just sell it for $70, just so they have a copy in the store. That doesn't sell very fast, but they want it there for that one person to come in. It's like, I heard about this game, and they'll just spend anything because they don't know any better. So they just always have a copy in there.
So I'm thinking about starting a new Twitch stream where we kidnap resellers, only the bad ones, and we force them to fight. And I'm not talking gaming. I'm talking like an actual arena with a couple of like, bats and barbed wire or whatever thrown in.
Oh boy.
And you just throw a copy of Earthbound in the middle.
Yeah. Actually, the winner gets to pay $100 for the privilege. That'll be the rule.
And it'll have a Madden in it, right?
Yeah. It'll be a Madden copy with the sticker swapped.
There you go.
You were fighting for this game all along, and it was $5, and now you're a murderer.
A joke me and the local game store were thinking about doing was take a bunch of crappy sports games and turn them into expensive games. Like turn them into repros of expensive games, just to screw with the other stores in the area. Not sell them for the exact crazy insane prices, because he won't do that. He actually takes the time to make sure nothing is fake that comes through his doors. He won't sell fake games. He tells people all the time, you have a fake Pokemon, I can't give you anything for it. And they're like, but it's the game. It's fake, kid. Go to someone that won't care.
I knew a store, I'm not going to drop any names on the store, but they were selling repro cards, and they had ones like Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, like the European version of Turtles in Time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were still selling it for like $50-$55. And I was
that's about average.
Yeah, that's about what my shop does too. They usually have like one row of there's like a couple Kaizo Marios and like the parallel worlds.
Yeah. My local shop has like a little section of repro Super Nintendo and NES and Game Boy games.
Yeah, but
they
Tim,
sell. They're like $45.
Those are either hacks or homebrews, though. Those aren't
usually.
Those aren't
hacks,
just like
homebrews or translation stuff that you can't get in U.S. market.
Right. Yeah. They're not saying, hey, here's a copy of
Little Samson
Hagane that right, like.
Speaking of which, I'm half tempted. Some of those NES games, I'm half tempted to just take a crappy game and make my own copy, because there's no way I'm paying friggin' $1,000 for a Little Samson. You can give that up. I'd like to play the game. I'm not paying what it cost.
Well, you can go have the ROM already.
Find the ROM.
Yeah.
And we've come full circle.
Yeah. I would be up for a heist. Someone has a Little Samson on eBay for $1,000. Let's do a heist.
Quick clarification, Tim. When you were talking about like the Teenage Hero Turtles thing, were you talking about like them putting like the U.S. price on a European copy of the game or something?
No. I'm not really sure if I was complaining about, more so just pointing it out. Because the price was like $50, and it was Hero Turtles, and they were fully transparent about what it was. They weren't trying to sell me Turtles in Time as a repro card while passing it off as the original, right? Like, they weren't being greasy about it. I still thought the price was a little high, $50, but I mean, I guess comparative to what it is now, that's still comparatively pretty good.
Yeah, I was just making sure like we were getting the right topic on there.
Oh yeah, and sorry, I sometimes get sound a little more cynical about this stuff than I mean to come off as.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, on the whole, it wasn't that bad. I was still a little sour about it because maybe it's just me being greedy. I don't want to pay $50 for just about anything that's 10, 20 years old, unless we're talking like Steel Battalion or some shit like that. But
yeah, something that's definitely less common.
Yeah,
you're gonna think I'm crazy.
About what?
A bunch of you are gonna think I'm crazy once we hit pickups.
You gonna show all your broken consoles?
I could do that. I have like a dozen NES and a dozen PS2s sitting over here.
Please.
They all have some sort of ailment.
Unless it's something interesting and obscure, please do not.
Yeah, I don't have anything like that at the moment. I do have 3 Sega Nomads that he wants new screens put on.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm tempted to get a Game Gear redone from you, but that would be way too much with the shipping and everything. We found that out when I bought that Genesis from you.
I have one done.
Yeah, but I kind of wanted it to be mine.
Console output.
It's the first thrift find I got, so it's kind of a little bit of nostalgia there.
Well,
but anyway,
I think there is someone in Canada that does that stuff.
More than likely,
that could do that.
It's
stuff.
Also a Game Gear, so the hype is not that high. Anyway,
unless it's Shining Force.
Yeah, maybe.
Sorry, that's like my one Game Gear game that I'm like, yeah, that's. Oh, do you have the show? Are you pulling out Sword of Hyea or Hagea? Yes.
Yep.
What's this now?
Beautiful.
You should just play the Sega CD version. Same game, but better.
Oh yeah,
womp, womp.
That really screwed me up back in the day because I remember playing that game thinking, I feel like I'm playing part 2 of something, or maybe even part 3 of something, but there was no other Shining Force Game Gear game. Then yeah, Shining Force CD, and I had all the.
I have a decent amount of Game Boy games, but I also have, consoleized Game Gears that I can play on my TV. Which, those are fun.
Hey, Kevin.
Hey, I finally figured it out. All right, so emulation. Let's get back to it. I don't know what you guys are talking about, but all I wanted to say was if Nintendo wants to compete with free, which is what they're doing, is what they need to do, because free isn't going to go away, is to supply their games or provide their games at a reasonable price.
Sure.
And that's what they're not doing.
Mm-hmm.
And until that happens, that is the only way they're going to be able to deal with free.
Yeah, I made the iTunes.
The iTunes model.
They have to hit the right price and the right availability.
Right.
Well,
iTunes
let's put it this way.
is one thing, but like Spotify, that's a result of piracy. The reason why Spotify exists, or at least the pricing for it. Netflix.
All the streaming services, yeah.
Right,
yeah.
all those services are there. And it's not like Nintendo needs to, have a streaming service for that. But
Nintendo's
it's also the devices too, right? The freedom that you can take that Netflix account, you can play it, you can watch stuff on multiple devices. That's another thing that Nintendo needs to do. Right now, if you buy the Sega games, the Genesis games on Steam, you can go in there and you can take those ROMs that you bought and you can put them on your retro.
I saw that post today.
And I never even thought of doing that until I saw someone post that. But yeah, that's a totally legit way of doing it. So that's the frustrating part with Nintendo, with them closing down. Not that they're, that they're not legally allowed to do it or that they're not within their rights to do it. Of course they are. But the model on how to handle piracy is already out there. They've already tried to do this with Napster and Metallica 20 years ago, and it didn't work because all the pirates ended up doing was ditching Napster and finding better technology like torrents.
Yeah,
and then they
torrents
just keep
still
moving
going
and
strong.
moving. Yeah,
then
torrents are still going strong.
Yeah, and find themselves a better way of hiding. Right? They're just hidden better on the internet instead of being out there like Napster was. Like that was really Napster's problem, was that they were out there. They should have stayed in the shadows, stayed on the dark web.
Well, yeah, you could still go find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
right.
Morpheus.
They're coming out with an online service, and they're only having 20 NES games on it. That's it. That's all they're starting with. 20? Nintendo, why couldn't you start with all the NES games?
Because they don't want to bury everyone in NES games right away.
Right, and they also have their other people that they want on the like if everyone's buying NES games, what about all the indie games that they're trying to promote?
Yeah, like
most of those indie games suck though.
Yeah,
90% of what comes to the Switch is garbage.
Soccer for the NES is not exactly a shining gem in the
no.
the Infinity Gauntlet that is the NES library, right?
it's largely subjective no matter which library you're looking at. But like, what would happen if you hit new releases on the eShop and the first 100 or so were NES games? It's like, well, not seeing any of these indie games I'm actually looking for a lot of the people.
And they need those
to come up with a better
to be buying
category
licenses
system on the eShop.
And they need those. Well,
but they're not even putting them on the eShop though. They're making it part of this service, which is their pilot program. And I think they want to see, like, is this enough of a draw? And the thing if it is, then what motivation do they have to add anymore?
Is that supposed to be kind of like the Xbox Games Pass? What Nintendo are going to be doing with that?
Yes, it's
except a lot crappier.
Basically, we don't know that. We don't know that.
It's going to be the same games that are in the NES Classic.
Slow down.
Yeah.
As long as it's better than PlayStation Now, we're good.
Yeah.
Soccer.
Play classic titles like Ice Climber and Urban Champion.
And now in 3D on your 3DS.
But the other thing you can't forget, too, is that there's still, depending on where you are, here in Canada, there's still a $400 price barrier to get to those ROMs.
Yeah.
You know, if they really want to compete with free, they got to put those ROMs and make them available on other systems like the PC. Make it an official thing. Put it on Steam, just like Sega did with the Genesis.
At this point, they're more likely to do it on like phones, just with the success that they've seen there. But either way, as long as they have controller support, that's fine.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, like I'm sure Pokemon Quest did a hell of a lot better on iOS than it did on the Switch.
Yeah, and I can understand wanting to keep those, games proprietary to a Nintendo console. There is a draw to do that, but the cat's already out of the bag. It's been out of the bag for 20 years. This is not something where they can go back now and they're going to eradicate it from the internet. All they did was all they did this week was basically shut down Napster, which did not shut down any piracy.
Yeah, you can literally still go find sites that you can find every single game.
Yeah,
I still have them
full ROM sets.
I still have them all on my PC. I have them all on my Retro Pi, and I didn't even use that new site. I dabbled in it a few times, but it really wasn't my go-to site at all.
Well, I remember Vim's Lair was kind of like my go-to back in the day, and I'm pretty sure that's still running.
Yeah, and there's tons of sites out there. They're all going on.
ISOZone.
That's another one too. Yeah, but there's also they're going on about archiving games and that too. There's tons of sites dedicated to just archiving games, like archiving PC games.
Site literally dedicated to archiving everything.
Well, isn't that Frank Cifaldi's group?
There's a ton of them out there. I don't know who
I think
I don't know,
that
one
Frank
I go to
Cifaldi's group is more a video game museum than anything else.
Right, but the preservation aspect is their thing, and I mean they're the ones who are like, there's a prototype out there, I'll be right there, let me dump the ROM, right? Like
that guy, yeah.
Like I will fly myself out so that I can get this ROM off of this.
Right, he even goes to local school boards where they made a video game for whatever elementary school that someone built. And, so
I think he found there's a prototype of I think Sim City for the NES. He was talking about and showing off at PRG last year.
I saw that at MagFest. It was pretty cool looking.
I think Ian Ferguson were playing it. I think. At PRG.
I do like when they find more hidden games and stuff that wasn't released. But it's kind of like I don't know, there's mixed feelings to me about the whole thing. Because I still think you should, if you can, go try and find the original copies of these games. But I do understand that's a giant price barrier. And you're basically paying somebody that has no affiliation with the original game's content at all money for the thing.
It's not just a price barrier for the game, though. There's also the console and buying an old TV. I mean, not everyone has the space to put an old CRT TV. And let's face it, modern televisions today do not come with the proper hookups for those older consoles.
Yeah, there's some that don't.
Modern
even have
televisions just come with HDMI. They literally just come with HDMI. And if you want to have component, here's a little 3.5 millimeter headphone jack with you can buy a special adapter for $50 to use.
Right.
Or
so
you
the
can
argument to go and get all the original hardware, that just doesn't. It's not realistic for.
It's not
everybody.
practical.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not practical for most people, but
Yeah,
some of
here's
the
the
solutions I've seen is like the Super Retro Trio. That's a good solution. It's got HDMI output. There's a bunch of good solutions.
Yes, but here's the thing, Yoshi. We're not quite there yet in terms of age, but what you're essentially saying in terms of mainstream audience accessibility is you're telling people the proper way to watch this movie is to find the original film print, get a projector, and build a theater in your house.
Not happening.
Yeah, it's just not practical enough for people to expect them to even do that.
Yeah, it's just like most people are like, why would I build a theater in my house? I can just watch Netflix stuff on my phone. That's fine for me for most things. That's what a lot of people are going to say. Whatever you think of that.
That's the key, like especially to Spotify and Netflix and those streaming services. Yes, the fact that you can use them on a bunch of devices is nice. The price is nice. But really what it comes down to is convenience. You can carry your library, your catalog wherever you go. You can make a list at home and then go to work and you can play it down on your computer at work or whatever. Those are reasons why people pay for those services or don't mind shelling out, is because it's convenient. You don't have to plan ahead and download things ahead of time. And some people are fine with doing that, but those services do make a ton of dough. Look at Netflix, man. They make a ton of dough. I mean, I'm pretty sure they make more than television networks do. They put up programming like they're making a ton of dough. So, and they charge, compared to what cable companies and satellite companies charge, they charge next to nothing for it.
It's like a tenth of the cost.
Yeah, they make enough money to keep going just from people forgetting to cancel.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of the cost is hidden within your own internet provider, but that's a whole that's a whole other thing. They're basically it's kind of like the car manufacturers back 100 years ago. If you wanted a train to come to your town, it would be up to a company to build a railroad build a train up to your town, and they would supply that service so that, and then they would make money off of, whatever goods they deliver to. At some point 100 years ago, automobile manufacturers convinced people that they should pay for roads. Cars are better, buses are better, it's more convenient, you can go wherever you want to go. And it suddenly became the public's responsibility to build all these roads. That's essentially what Netflix is doing with the internet, right? Like, I work in traditional television. We have to provide a way to get that signal to you. Now, cable companies have kind of taken that away, a lot of that job away from us, but we still provide like an over-the-air signal. That's a cost, whereas Netflix doesn't have any of that overhead at all because they're just using the internet. And, you as the consumer are paying for it because you are getting, whatever better service, or you're going over your data or whatever, So it's an interesting business model. But anyways, Nintendo doesn't have any of that
huge
problem.
costs that come with that, though.
Absolutely, yeah. But the reason why they can provide that kind of programming, that because they provide really high quality programming, is you're paying. I mean, there are people that pay. I don't know what it's like in the United States, but here in Canada, like for instance, my mom was spending over $100 for cable alone. She was getting a ton of channels.
That's about right. That's about right.
About $100 for cable, $100 for internet.
But that $100 was going straight to the service provider, the cable provider or the satellite company, and that doesn't trickle down to the people who actually make the content. Those companies that get all their content for free, whereas Netflix is getting money directly from you. They're getting, at least.
Yeah.
I don't. What is it now in the States? Here, it's like $10 now. It's still $8 in.
Yeah, last I checked. I don't have it, but yeah.
I think either that's going up or Amazon Prime's going up. One of the two. Or both.
Who cares? They're still cheaper than friggin' cable.
Oh,
I think it's absolutely.
And better. Holy crap.
And that's why, because they're taking that money directly from you, and they're actually using it, to get more content, which is, they're not just pocketing it, which is nice. They're making a good product along with what they're doing. So, I don't know. That's all, but that's it. The solution's there. Nintendo can do it, and that's kind of the frustrating part. Is like, why are they going down this old? Why are they sticking to the old way of doing it? That it didn't work 20 years ago. I don't know why they think it's going to work.
Because
now.
they have lawyers that tell them it's the right thing to do.
But why didn't they do it 20 years ago then? I mean, all this
they
stuff
tried. They're doing it over, and they constantly do it over and over again. They keep repeating the cycle.
What site did they shut down 20 years ago?
There was a few.
Was that?
I don't remember them, but I'm pretty sure they tried to shut down a few sites 20 years ago.
I think they sent out a lot. They sent out a lot of cease and desist. I heard back in the day.
Yeah, I think what they're trying to do is just like send out a warning to most of the sites that make these easily available, where you can go download 1 or 2 games or whatever. They don't seem to be going after the places where, hey, here's the entire collection, download it in a torrent. That doesn't seem to be an issue.
So I think part of their problem, honestly, was that when you would click on that website, Mario was like right on up front and center, and I think that's really part of what turned them off. Was like, oh no, we got to shut this down. They got all of our stuff on there for free. I know they're a smart company and everything, but I don't know. It seems like that was the. To me, I'm probably just projecting myself in there or something, but like that's something like that would piss me off. Is like, oh, there's my artwork right there, and they're not only selling my stuff on there or giving away my stuff on there, but everybody else's stuff on there too. And they probably thought that like people would click on that and think it was Nintendo that was doing it.
Maybe
they seem to be very protective of their branding, and I wonder if if Mario wasn't on there at all, and it was just text, if this would be like something that they would be concerned with at all.
Well, most of the sites that are just text don't really get hit because they don't get a lot of traffic.
That's what I mean.
Because let's be honest, the majority of people we know don't want to read anything.
Right.
Which is sad.
Or even
Stay
if it
in
was
school,
just,
kids. Math and reading are cool.
Even if it's just a generic joystick or something, I don't know.
Yeah. And to be fair, it's not just Nintendo that's having this problem of access to things. Like, PlayStation does this to a lesser extent. Everyone does it to a lesser extent.
Absolutely, yeah.
The entire industry needs to find a way to do this in a proper way, essentially.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, on the PC, Steam was a byproduct again of piracy.
Yeah.
PC gaming, 15 years ago was in real trouble, right? Because you'd have to go to the store, you'd buy these discs or whatever, and it was there for free online. So why would I pay for just when I could just get it for free, right?
Go buy this giant cardboard box with a disc in it.
Right, and you were paying $60 a game. So of course the incentive was there for you to not go and buy it and instead just download it for free. So
or find like DRM measures don't work either. The DRC and the DRM crap and all the codes and all the crap they've tried over the years, that doesn't work. People find ways to crack that.
Yeah, they find ways around it. Even back in the day, when I was playing Railroad Tycoon, like the DRM was, which train is this? And you would just reload the game over and over again until you hit one. Oh, I know what train that is. Then you'd be able to play the game. But the way that, like when Steam first started, everybody hated it, right? Because it was DRM. Nobody liked it. Yeah. But once they started with the Steam sales, that's where it became popular because it was
$1 a game.
Well, yeah, there's DRM with this Steam game, and once a month it'll have to check in with Steam to make sure that my copy's legit, but it's only costing me $5. Yeah. So of course, okay, sure. If Steam tanks tomorrow, well, that game only cost me $5.
Yeah, until you have people that have like thousands of those on their computer, and then they're like, "Holy shit, this was like $10,000 of games, just poof, can't play them anymore."
Well, that's different. That's different, but I don't think Steam is going anywhere.
If Steam does go under, I have a feeling that they're probably just going to be like, "Okay, we're going to send out a patch to disable all the DRM." if they're smart when they go under, because otherwise people will probably sue them.
Well, I don't know if they would be able to do that, because I think reason why a lot
People
of those
would
games
try.
are on Steam is because of the DRM.
Yeah, it would have to check with every licensor.
Right.
Before they sent that out.
Right. Like the publishers really liked Steam because they didn't have to do the work, right? They didn't have to do the DRM. The DRM was done for them by Steam. So of course they're going to, we'll put our, whatever pennies they have to pay Steam to be on that. Like they don't have to look after the DRM, they don't have to look after the store, they don't have to look at there's a front for them, so it's a great deal for them. So
yeah, and we have GOG now, so they don't have DRM, and they kind of do that work too of getting the games running.
Yeah, and GOG that's a fantastic service. Like there's no, not only is there not any DRM, but there's no region coding too. Like that's how Rambox was able to play Broforce. Broforce is locked. I don't think you can play it on Steam in Japan, but he could play it on GOG. So
that's cool. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, because no DRM, you're not going to have any sort of, region locking.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's funny. Like a lot of people get on whatever physical games are better than digital games or whatever, but the PC side always gets forgotten in the mix because I'll give you that the digital games, the digital stores on the consoles do suck. They are pieces of trash because they're run by, you only have one provider, right? But on the PC, you have the choice of, you don't like Steam, you can go to GOG. You don't like GOG and Steam, you go to Green Man Gaming or, I don't know, EA's
Humble
Origin or the Humble Bundle. Or
Humble
mixed reactions to Green Man Gaming.
What's that?
That's not a great example, but
Humble will do Steam links or GOG.
Steam,
not GOG, but DRM-free files.
Yeah, you can get DRM-free stuff on Humble, and they do have their own storefront too. It's not just bundles, right?
Yeah,
you can buy there too. So.
A lot of them go through Steam, though, right?
My issue with stuff like the eShop is that you can't find anything easily.
Well, that's
most of the problem with the most console things is you can't find stuff easily. You got to sit there and dig for hours and hours and hours to find the game you want.
Yeah, or use a clunky search engine that may or may not show you the result you're looking for.
Pretty much.
Yeah, but the thing is, even though it's the least popular console right now, Xbox is doing the most work to remedy this in terms of the console space because they are doing really good backwards compatibility work. They're doing the Game Pass. And they even said that they're working on getting Xbox as a service on your phone, computer, all these things sometime in the future. The hardware is not going away. That's still an option for everyone, but you can play whatever games you have anywhere. That's the goal. They are working on it. So they're the only ones actually doing this, and Sony's just going, nah, we're fine.
Yeah,
Sony at least has the exclusivity to them.
Yeah, but it's kind of soured me to Sony in general. If I have the option not to play something on PlayStation, I've completely 180'd. I was like, I do not want to get a freaking Xbox One. I want to switch over to PlayStation, and I want to play everything on there. And then they did this thing. I'm like, well, I've got my Xbox One here. They're letting me play my old crap. So it's like every game, even if I have it on PS4, if they put it on Game Pass or something, I'll just download it on there instead because I'm so soured to them at this moment in time that I don't even want to turn my freaking console on if I don't have
the PS4. It could very easily run an emulator that could play PS1 and PS2 games. PS3 games, probably not. Because
probably
PS3 is stupid architecture. They took a hint from Sega with the Saturn on that one.
Yeah, it's probably not the best inspiration.
Yeah, I wasn't
thrilled.
Sega Saturn is a lesson in how not to make a game console.
Yep.
The PlayStation 4 already runs PlayStation 2 emulators. You just got to buy them through
the kicker is though, games you bought on your PS3, like PS2 classics, PS1 classics, you may not necessarily get to play on your PS4, and you'll have to rebuy them.
Yeah, you don't 99% of the time.
There are definitely some.
No, I mean they won't carry over. But if you got the cross-buy stuff, like Shovel Knight, you can do on both because it gives you both versions. But it doesn't there's no backwards compatibility. They just give you both versions of the game. And the crap with PlayStation too is they have PlayStation Plus. They were on the monthly service even before Microsoft was, but it's crappy streaming, and it's $20 a month. Who in the hell is going to go for that? And they're not even advertising the thing.
I tried the streaming thing once on back in PS3 when they were first testing out that PlayStation Now streaming thing. You could pay by a chunk of hours, a chunk of days. And I tried it with Ultra Street Fighter 4, and I remember I did a 5-hour rental. I played about an hour of it. Couldn't get online to work at all, but whatever. I put it down. I have some errands and whatnot to do. I come back about 3 hours later, play for an hour, and it's gone.
Yeah, it's not like. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I thought they would at least do something where it's like, okay, well, we're only going to charge you for the amount of time you play. It's like, no, it's the amount of time from when you do the rental.
Yeah, like how movie rentals work on like the consoles and everything.
Yeah,
once you hit play, it's counting down.
Yeah,
Yep.
which I suppose I get for day rentals and week rentals.
Yeah,
by the hour, that's kind of brutal.
Yeah, that doesn't really count for games though as much. Like with a movie, it's like it's a finite runtime, and you assume when someone's renting that movie, they're going to watch it right away or within the next 48 hours.
Yeah,
at the most. So it's like saying, okay, once you've hit play, you have 48 hours of rental time. It's like you can watch the movie as many times as you want in 48 hours. I watched a movie twice on one rental period on Xbox. That's more than enough. But with games, not so much.
No, it was definitely I just remember being a little disappointed by that, and it kind of stopped me from trying the service again. I know they have the system now on PS4 that's kind of similar, and they're still doing the streaming part of it.
Yeah.
I just wish we had more, video game rental stores would come back. Actual physical video game rental stores.
Preach.
Where, hey, where I can walk in, be like, here's $8. Let me rent this game for 2-3 days. Okay.
Yeah,
or a week, or whatever it is.
I have one place in Toronto that does that I know of. And I actually have been renting games there over the summer, and I forgot how much I missed it until I started doing it. Just being able to take a physical copy home in your hand, it motivates you to play the game too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're like, I only have a week to play this. Okay, I'm going to sit down and play it. Now I sit here and look at all these different games I have, and I'm like, holy shit, what the hell should I play? I don't know. I have 1,000 games to pick from. What the hell am I supposed to play?
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
But going to a physical location to rent something is probably impractical to most people mainstream-wise now at this point.
Today,
having that option on the digital storefronts that already exist would be great.
Agreed.
A lot of favorite games I had as a kid, I never would have played if it wasn't for rental stores. Mm-hmm. I remember going to a mom and pop rental store and renting Breath of Fire 2, and then renting it again and again and again, to the point where my parents probably should have just bought the freaking game for us, because we rented it 10 times. Did we ever beat it as kids? No, because Breath of Fire 2 is a friggin' 40 to 60 hour game.
And you never kept
if you know what you're doing.
It's not like you were using the same cart every single time.
Unless you were really lucky.
Yeah, so, and assuming someone didn't delete the save file while they had it.
Usually they did.
That's a minefield.
Yeah.
They do things like that digitally. You get free weekends or even trials. You could play a game for a few hours, whatever. So there are things that are sort of like that.
Yeah.
I just know back in the day, the reason I wouldn't have played a fraction of the amount of games as I played when I was younger if it weren't for rental stores.
Oh yeah, same here.
If it weren't for the option of having a rental option there, and I felt so lost when places like Blockbuster closed down because I just did not know where to go to play my games, and especially in Canada where everything's suddenly going up to $80+ per game, plus the tax. It's kind of limiting. So yeah, I'm kind of. I mean, things like the Xbox Store and whatnot are helping with that, but it's still not quite there yet, and that's kind of what's killing me.
Yeah, it's
because there are no games.
Well, Xbox One, their Xbox Game Pass is an amazing service.
And the game of the month just went up for next month. Doom and Rage for the 3 people that'll want to play that. But
Wait, Doom is going up there next month?
Doom is on there now.
It's already on there.
Oh,
I have that on PS4. I'm halfway done. I'm tempted to just download it on the Game Pass instead. Again,
that was my game.
Tony has irked me.
Yeah, well, I bought the Switch version. I bought the Switch version of Doom.
How is
I
it?
paid more. It's good. It's actually a really, really damn good port. But you have to realize you're paying $60 because it's a new port of the game. But remember, there are times in that game where it literally drops down to like 240p. It just turns
Well,
into
yeah,
a
'cause
blurfest.
they scale the resolution to keep the frame rate locked, right?
Yep.
Which is better.
Yeah, which
Yeah,
I don't care.
For sure.
You're sitting there battling a bunch of demons. Are you really going to notice that if the resolution just takes a giant nosedive as you're engaged really heavily in fighting demons?
Yeah,
Because that's when it does it.
Yeah, this might just be me, but this is funny, especially with Doom specifically. This is how little resolution matters in the heat of the moment. I was playing Doom on PS4 when I got it, and for some reason it had defaulted on my system to standard definition. I didn't notice for 3 hours. I'm like, oh, this is looking a little choppy after like 3 hours of playing. I'm like, oh, it went to standard definition. It did not affect my experience whatsoever. And I was playing on a 1080p TV. It's like, I'm not saying resolution isn't important at all, but it's like taking a little bit of a loss on that, much more acceptable.
I also think a lot of us are spoiled with high definition graphics and all this stuff. A lot of us have become very spoiled and have the mentality of, my games must look the best. They must look absolutely perfect with no flaws. No, they don't have to be that way. Okay? Playing a freaking game on composite can be just as fun as, having an RGB modded console that you hooked up to your TV that's like, you spent $1,000 on a modded console and a frame meister and all this other crap. Is it going to make you enjoy the game a bit better? You're just going to be able to see it better.
No, I enjoy the game better. When it's at 60 frames per second versus less than 30 frames per second is night and day.
Yeah,
and I can play a game all day at 60 frames per second. At less than 30 or even at 30 frames per second, I get, it after like 20 or 30 minutes. I can't look at the TV anymore. I got to go do something else because it's too choppy. Like I get eye strain, Yeah.
There is something pleasing to the eye at 60 frames. Like
at least 60
I think because when I got Ratchet and Clank when I got my Pro, that was the first game I put in was Ratchet and Clank, and there was just something about the visual that was like my eyes were like, I like this. This is good.
Yeah, it's smooth, and you don't realize it until after. Like the hours would just fly by, and I've been playing this forever, and my eyes aren't straining at all. And I realized it was a frame rate,
Yeah,
I get the whole resolution thing. Although, man, once you play at 4K, it's hard to go back.
But the frame rate is king on everything. But here's the thing: 60 is not like required for every single kind of game. 30 is fine for a lot of games as long as it's solid. That's the important part. Getting a solid frame rate. It can be slower as long as it does not fluctuate every 5 seconds.
I mean, if you're talking like an RPG, like a JRPG, sure.
Yeah.
But any action game where
twitchy,
you're moving, moving even something like where you're moving the camera around, like Tomb Raider, like the modern Tomb Raider games or something. It's night and day between 30 and 60. My eyes just start.
I wasn't even talking about frame rate. I'm more so talking about like the way you get your games to your TV. Yes, modern consoles are easy. You just plug in the HDMI port and then you go. But like older consoles, a lot of people don't realize that as video for most of these is more than good enough because it just eliminates all the blur.
If you're on a standard def TV, sure. But I mean, like you look at a Wii game and you try to play it on your television, it looks blurry. You
plug in the composite cables, I can say that.
Even component to a degree.
Even component, it's not that it looks blurry, Yeah, it's even at 60 frames per second. Then you throw it in the Dolphin emulator and you run it at 4K and you're like, wow, this is the way it should look. This is how I'm going to play my Wii games from now on.
You have to have a really powerful computer for that, though. Most people do not.
Not that powerful.
Yeah, I know, but like still like more than like a 2012 laptop, for example.
Most people just have a laptop.
That sounds like a challenge to me. I got a 2011 laptop right here. You saying I can't run Dolphin on this 2011 laptop?
Dolphin at
You
max
might be able to. It
settings.
depends on you.
I bet you I could.
Not
I bet you
4K
I could.
though. Depends on the game and whatever specs your laptop has.
4K might be stretching it, but definitely 1080p.
Yeah. Anyway, and just to clarify, when I said like it's not required for 60, like yeah, definitely there's a night and day difference. But as long as the 30 frames per second is solid and the game doesn't necessarily require that higher frame rate, it's perfectly fine.
Sure. I just think the window is closing on the games that require less than 30. Like
Yeah.
Especially with all the detail and everything that they put into games now.
Mhm.
It's not like Halo where you're just looking at a, flat field and a couple of trees, Sure,
that doesn't bother me as much. Like the frame rate stuff doesn't bother me as much, but I don't also play very many Twitch shooters.
Good for you,
It's
Yoshi.
not just-
We're here in the conversation now. You're back here.
It's not just Twitch shooters though. It's like
Racing
anything.
games.
Like any 3D movement of a camera. Like
Yeah.
if we're looking at 2D stuff, then
Yeah.
for sure we're fine. But 3D anything.
Yeah, Splunky doesn't need to run at 60 frames per second, sure.
Yeah.
But I mean anything that's 30 frame, like anything is 30 frames. Anything that is 3D now, like just the way they put so much detail into everything in that, and even the jaggies that you get from the anti-aliasing, like playing Mario on the Switch, that Newtown or whatever that you go into. I mean, you could see how like everything just looks really, all the lines in that all look really jaggy. It
None
really
of that
stands
bothers
out in
me.
that game.
None of that bothers me. But to me, PS2 era was like, this is good enough. We don't need to go any farther.
Believe it or not, Yoshi, you are not everybody, and everybody is different.
I know
Contrary to popular opinion.
Right.
I know this, but I also don't care about having like super sharp graphics and all this other crap.
I think the thing is now the
though.
machines are capable of it, and so we've come to expect it. Like if you go back and look at PS2 stuff, having only played this for the last 5 years, like that PS2 stuff is not necessarily going to look great.
Yeah, a lot of people will say it looks like crap, and then they'll turn it off and not want to play it.
Well, they'll be correct for
Point
a lot of
made.
PS2. Let's just be perfectly honest. A lot of PS2 games, unless you're playing on a CRT with component, even then they look kind of shady.
Yeah, there are a few exceptions. I think a lot of the cell shaded games kind of
Dark Cloud
held
2.
up.
Yeah,
anything that's got a kind of cartoony vibe to it, kind of
age is better.
Yeah, it's timeless. It's like try to play Twilight Princess on the Wii versus Wind Waker. Wind Waker just because it just has that look, that appeal. Anything where they tried to make something look realistic, of course, it's not going to look as good as what they can do today.
Yeah, and
again, I'm not much of a modern gamer, so
you don't say.
Really.
But I also want to say, like when I said like a lot of PS2 games look shady, that's specific to PS2 in a lot of cases. Like GameCube games, Xbox games, some of those age a hell of a lot better. But the PS2 just has that extra layer of just blech over it.
Yeah,
PS2 was the weakest console.
Oh yeah, out of all three consoles of that generation, it's the only one that I have to hook up to a CRT with components.
Dreamcast has better textures.
Oh yeah,
than the PS2.
Technically, maybe not, but like in terms of how they used it and how they.
The Dreamcast has better textures than the PS2. It just has less polygons.
Maybe. I don't know the tech specs, but still, they used it a hell of a lot better.
There is like some sort of weird film that I find on the PS2 that seems to cover the screen.
I think it's the way they process the signal. More like.
Yeah, there's something there. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's like the graphics aren't bad. The visual clarity thing is just like, it's much worse.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyone else want to bash the PS2? Come on. Let's get in there.
I mean, I can keep going.
Yeah.
Well, maybe October's game of the month will be a good barometer for old games having graphical staying power.
Yeah, now that game came out. There's a lot of consoles that game came out on, right? Did it come out on the PS2?
No. GameCube though.
GameCube,
it's
Dreamcast.
Resident Evil 2.
Yep.
N64 is going to be a great experience at this point.
Apparently, that's a good port.
Here's a hint.
That's what Ryan says.
Let's see. The GameCube version of Resident Evil 2 is the exact same game as the PS1 version. They didn't even update the graphics.
Still. Yeah, they are delivering that at a higher... the visual clarity is going to be better because they're just sending the signal better than the PS1 was. But that's about all you're going to get out of it.
Yeah, I remember that was a knock against 2 and 3 on the GameCube because the first one got an entirely new remake, and those were...
Yeah, and 0 was a new game.
Although, if you want to run it at 4K, there is a PC version of Resident Evil 2 that I will be playing at my original OG copy that I had back in the day. Yeah.
That's cool.
Although you can't buy it. That's another, talking about archiving games and that. Even something like the Resident Evil games, they all came out on the PC. Metal Gear Solid came out on the PC. You can't buy it anywhere. Konami doesn't have it on any store, anywhere. You have to either download it through one of those sites or be lucky enough to find a physical copy out somewhere.
Or the only legal source you have to actually buy it is the PlayStation 3 store for the PS1 Classic version. You can't even do it on PS4.
Oh yeah, I'm talking if you want to play the PC version.
Yeah, I know, but the game in general, I don't think there's any legal way for you to buy Resident Evil 2 other than on the PS3 PlayStation 1 Classics edition. I might be wrong, but that just occurred to me as you were saying that.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, which is... People complain about ports and re-releases and remasters and all that, but it's then you run into something like this, where the hell did that go? Why can't you buy Resident Evil 2? It's the most popular one.
Yeah.
Other than 4.
Because they want you to wait and buy the new copy that's coming out.
Yeah, but it's not even the same game.
Yeah.
I just want to say I had a lot of fun teasing that for 2 days.
Yeah, I appreciated that tweet. That was good.
Everything I tweeted in that 2-day span had something.
So is that is that you, Musty, running the Cartridge North America or whatever it is? What is it, Cartridge Club NA? Who's running that?
Who had it? Dean's in there sometimes, and Ryan's been in there, but Dean, if you see the big posts with ton of hashtags, that's Dean.
That's Dean. Okay.
That's Dean working his magic. But that Twitter account has gone up 100 followers in 2 weeks.
Nice.
I love Josh and he gets so excited talking about the club. He rattled off this huge thread.
Musty put out that thing, just flag somebody that you like in the club, and then Josh has to show us all up and flags everybody.
He set the bar.
Okay,
he does.
Yeah, sure. I'm going to do the same thing, Josh. Make sure that I don't single anybody out, forget anybody or anything.
Well, he complimented both of us at least.
You can look at another way too. It's oh, Josh did all the work. Retweet. Done.
Yeah, there you go. That is true. I don't have to do anything now.
Or quote tweet. It's I was going to do what this guy did, but he did it already.
There you go. That's a good idea. I should have thought of that. Oh.
Part of me wants to go back and show you all of the hints that you guys may have missed.
Yeah, I was thinking about the really excited too thing.
Yeah,
so
that was the most
one,
obvious one.
I'm kind of mad at myself for capitalizing it. I feel like that might have not been as obvious if I hadn't capitalized.
Not. But it was still good.
Let me scroll back because Kevin, you asked where it was going to be.
Yeah.
And all of the words I responded with ended with RE.
Right. Okay.
And then somebody else, I replied with a picture of Squall.
Yes.
Who is, if you've played Kingdom Hearts?
No.
His character, he goes by Leon in Kingdom Hearts.
He goes King of Leon? Oh, okay.
So he goes by Leon. That's his name.
Isn't that a band? Kings of Leon?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
yes.
So you're gonna have to work that song into the Cartridge Club
Maybe
episode of the month.
see.
Yeah, work in one of their songs.
Is it Lose Somebody? That's I think that's the
That's their
one.
biggest hit, I think. Yeah.
Of course, he found a way to work Final Fantasy VIII into that.
Of course.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
that's a good deep cut on that, though.
It worked, and then I responded with chess pieces, which are the keys, and then someone made the comment. Oh yeah, Eric made the comment that that I was just leading him on, and so I put the picture of Rihanna, sort of affirming that because her song is Umbrella.
Oh, great!
Yeah. It was good.
Yep.
It was fun. I had a good time with it.
Yeah, but
Now
you're the only one having fun with that thread. We were what do you call it? Humoring
you all knew what it was already. I realized that.
We did.
Because my first one was too blatantly obvious, so I got to fix that.
Twitter.
But I don't know that we'll ever do. I mean, the reveal videos. I don't know how we could pull that off. Because I'm not driving 5 hours each way, 2 ways to do that.
Be hard to do over Skype. That's true.
Right, it just doesn't have the same impact.
Yeah.
I also don't want to wait until the last possible minute to reveal it, right? Because
then people have to go rush to find it.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. And if it's, granted, I don't think anything we have picked is going to be super obscure or like hard to find, but
Well, you don't have to do a reveal video. You can just do a promotional video.
We can figure it out.
Yeah,
we'll come up with something.
You should get it.
I mean, we have.
You know what?
There is a promotional video that comes out every Monday.
Yes, that's true.
That would work.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have people dressing up in silly outfits.
Sure.
And
or pulling Genesis carts out of a garbage bag because that's where you keep them.
That's right. Classic.
Yeah. I miss those days.
That was, what does Steven Eider call it? Cartridge Club Classic? Back in the day.
They're going to get remastered.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, well. So you guys have all the games? You guys have all the games planned out for the next little while, or?
We have the entire season mapped right now, but we have already called 2 audibles just in the last month. So none of it's locked in, and that's part of why we don't want to announce it until further down the road because
I did find that people did like that when Sean left the first time we were doing it. People really liked having the games 6 months in advance so they could find copies.
Yeah.
But then Sean came back and changed all the games, and everyone got upset with us.
Yeah, maybe that doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, that doesn't work. When it was just us, it worked.
Everything we have, we are totally on board with. We actually have some. We're gonna kind of shirk some of the we're not doing the big RPG in February. That's just it's cute. It was cute for a small group, but when you get a bigger group, it's just not ideal, and it tends to lead to fewer people playing along.
Big RPG should be in the summer months when more people have free time.
Well,
yeah,
and again, you also have family vacations then, so it's kind of like.
It was fine when it was the only RPG. Last year there was just too many RPGs at that. That was this year. Sorry.
I think it skipped all those months.
There was 3 months, I think, in a row with you had.
So it was Dark Cloud, and then Odin Sphere, and then something else. Then The Last of Us, then Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
So 3 out of 4.
3 out of 4. That's too many RPGs.
Yeah.
And they're all PlayStation 2 exclusive.
Yeah. Yeah. So what we want to do, here's a couple of things we want to do is is we want to have at least per season one game dedicated to each of the major systems. So like there will be a PlayStation exclusive, there will be an Xbox exclusive, there will be a Nintendo exclusive, and really the Nintendo exclusive may just become like Zelda month. In fact, we're kind of leaning toward having a Zelda month because that could go for quite a while.
You mean like 10 years?
Sure, yeah. I mean, and we're already 5 years in, and there's still a ton of Zeldas left to play.
You mean like pick a month and then that like every year that's
so like
that you play a Zelda game?
Yeah, it'd be like, you know, April would be Zelda month, and then we would pick a one that we haven't played yet, or maybe one that people have been, you know, saying they're going to get to, but they haven't been getting to, and you know, find a way to kind of let that happen. But what else? We want to have a month that is an indie game, which we can kind of use to balance some of that out. Like we can do a short game month ahead of a bigger Zelda game, to kind of give people a chance to work through that. Hitting people with multiple 40-hour games month after month after month is not going to sit well with a lot of people. Yeah,
I think I complained.
Well, I mean, that's part of the feedback process, right? So,
or when they're like, "Here's a 100-hour RPG, play it in the shortest month of the year."
Yeah. So I mean, that's what we.
That was that Dragon Quest game.
They did that with Dragon Quest 8, and it's like, really, you picked the longest Dragon Quest game
for February,
like the second longest Dragon Quest game, and you put it in February.
Yeah.
One thing that could be cool for sorry to cut you off, but one thing that could be cool for the Zelda month thing, it wouldn't work for this season coming up, obviously, but for next season, like you could do that as the September game for the first game of the season, because that was the first, like Link to the Past was the first Cartridge Club game.
That's a good idea.
So like you could start each new season with a Zelda.
Or I don't know if it would make sense to have a portable game too. With I don't talk to Curtis.
So we've also been talking with Curtis about some synergy and getting either, you know, 2 games in the same series during the same month, or some kind of common thread. But like, we won't ever do the thing where it's like, oh well, it's a Switch game, so it's Curtis's game and it's our game. Like we will still do 2 unique games.
The thing I
don't think he'd go for that anyway.
Yeah, right. I mean, because ultimately he would lose an episode then if we did that, and that's just not fair. So
what I like about the games being different is if you're not interested in the Cartridge Club game, you can play the portable game, or if you're not interested, you know, so it kind of gives you that option.
Yeah, for sure. We want options. That's why there's 2 Game of the Month shows, you know, and so, but yeah, there will be times. We were trying to work something out for this October, but we couldn't pass up the opportunity to play RE2 before the remake comes out. Because confession, have not played through all of Resident Evil 2. Because we did not have a save memory card that day. So I got as far as I could, but we eventually that had to get turned off, and so.
You know, I don't think I've ever finished Claire's campaign. I remember finishing Leon, but I think I only got halfway through Claire's. It's Claire, right, in that game? Or is it?
Yes. Yeah, Leon and Claire. Yeah.
Right. So. I don't know how much of a confession that is. I don't know if I truly beat it or not. Eric will probably tell me I didn't with one of his rules, right?
I stopped at the very end of Leon's campaign.
Eric didn't even bother to unmute himself.
If you use any ink ribbons, not real.
Yeah, no, man, I used ink ribbons. I had to beat both characters to mark it down. I marked it down in my spreadsheet as a win when I played with Leon. And then I marked it as a secondary win with Claire, but I did want to play it with both. You do you, Kevin.
I didn't count it as anything because back then you didn't count you didn't.
Because it's ridiculous.
This game, yeah, like there was no checklist or anything. Anyway,
we weren't all making spreadsheets when we were 10.
It was the Wild West of 20 years ago, where there was, nobody
Heck,
cared if you beat.
I
the
still
game
don't
or
make
not.
spreadsheets.
No, me neither.
Too much work, man.
I don't want to get too much into the Cartridge Club Game of the Month talk of October, but is Claire's campaign that much different than Leon's? Like, is there a different ending or anything? Does anyone know?
I would assume it's like a side story. Like you go do different things in the same areas. Obviously, all the dialogue's different.
I guess what it was with the two characters in the first game, Chris and Jill, right? Like you had different. You had a different weapon and a different amount of stuff you could carry, right?
I think I only beat Jill's campaign. I don't think I've ever beat Chris's campaign in the original Resident Evil.
I think 9 times. Sorry.
There were different things like you could access in the mansion. I remember in that first game.
Yeah.
Chris could knock something down or something, and Jill could. She was the master of unlocking, so she could unlock a certain area or something. From what I remember.
I don't know. I haven't played that game in a long time.
Me too.
I think 9 times out of 10, whenever people show footage of of the original Resident Evil, it's Jill. Like no one cares about Chris at all.
That's because Jill's campaign was easier.
Well, yeah, like I remember when we picked Jill because you could carry more. Well,
yep.
Was it?
Yeah, she had a
carry
bigger
8
inventory.
instead of 6. You carry 8 things instead of 6, and carrying only 6 things was just brutal.
Right, and Chris's advantage was, did he have a bigger gun or
more health? More health, I think. More powerful weapons.
Right, and in that game, it was just like you wanted to carry as much as you could because you didn't know when you're going to need stuff. Like
pretty much
an extra slot for an ink ribbon or
or if you're playing the GameCube version, you'd hit a pause and go, now I gotta walk halfway across the mansion, go back to the save room to pick up these items I left in the box.
Right, yeah.
That's literally what I remember from the first Resident Evil is you were constantly go try to find a new area, find a new puzzle, go, crap, I need this item, walk back to the save box, walk back, use the item, then have to go do another item, or go try and find other items.
Right, but if you put something in the box, wasn't it in every box?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was always in every box, but you still have to walk halfway across the mansion half the time to find some of that stuff.
To the box, yeah.
And sometimes you'd have to traverse through really dangerous areas.
Yeah. Big snake in that first game. Really big snake. Scared the crap out of me back in the day. Well, it's been a slice, guys, but I gotta go.
All right.
So,
good night, Kevin.
Have a good hangout.
Maybe
we'll do this again sometime. How do I turn you guys off? There we go. Bye.
Bye. See you later.
Anyway, all I'll say in terms of games I hope are coming up, Darksiders. It's on every system but the Switch, and the third one's coming out at the end of the year. Timing.
That's also a really good Zelda clone.
The first one's more of a clone than the second one, but yes. You basically share the exact same inventory as Ocarina of Time, save for like 1 or 2 weapons. They're just hell versions of them.
It's like Zelda, but in hell.
With a portal gun.
Helda?
Sure.
Okay.
The second one has some Diablo elements, but yeah, they're really good games. And they're super cheap. Like, even buying the remasters, these ones new, it's like $20 a piece, and that's Canadian. And, like, you sneeze, and they're on sale somewhere. For less than that. Like, I own them 6 times. They throw copies at you. Play them.
I bought the original, what is it? I think I have like 2 copies of Darksiders 2, one on the Wii U and one on PC. I was given the one on PC. That's the only one I've played. Back when I had a PC that could barely run the game.
I have
Rest
them
in
on
peace, old
every
PC.
single system except for PC and Wii U. I have a copy each on PlayStation 3 of the first and second, a copy of the first one on 360. I have the two are on Game Pass for Xbox One, I think. And I also have digital PS3 versions and digital PS4 versions and physical PS4 versions. Because I got a Humble Bundle and I thought I was going to be able to give the code away, but I wasn't.
Ouch.
It was only another like $5 more than I needed to spend, but still.
Yeah.
But yeah, they throw copies of this game at you, and they're on sale all the time. They're like the most accessible games we could possibly have on the freaking club.
Well, it's. I will say that it's on our long list. Like we've got a list. However, there's always the Patreon nomination and vote. So just throwing that out there.
You could probably buy them for the cost of the Patreon notification.
I understand.
Or nomination. Still though. Anyway. I like to mention that every now and again.
Yeah. I mean we are definitely interested in getting games that people want to play. And so if there's the one thing that we struggle with is like, let me throw an example of let me throw Bayonetta out there, right? Like, it would make sense to play, like the second one, right? Like, because it's the newer one and all of that. But so many people maybe haven't played the first one, and so there are people.
Well,
some
the first one's also more accessible.
Who are, but I mean, there's some people who have hang-ups about playing things out of order or not be, and so we want to keep that in mind.
Also, to throw that out there with Bayonetta, the first game is a lot more accessible because you can get it on Xbox 360, PS2, Wii U, Switch. I think there's even a PC version of that. I don't remember. Compared to the second game where you have two choices, Wii U, Switch.
Yeah.
And let's face it, not all of us own Wii U's and Switches. A lot of us do.
There's a lot of us.
But not all of us.
Sure.
Interruptions aside, that's less accessible.
Sure.
Story content for like a game versus its sequel is also another issue. For Darksiders, as an example, they take place concurrently to each other with different characters.
Therefore,
this is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get that, and we, we're not gonna pick something from the Virtual Boy, right? Like that will never be, probably never be a game of the month off of the Virtual Boy.
But come on, man. It's the Virtual Boy. Oh, hail the Virtual Boy!
that you had so much fun repairing.
I literally gave myself a headache for like a day or two doing that.
Mark would probably be really into it.
I literally had a headache after repairing a Virtual Boy. It's like, can I see it at both screens? Oh God, my head. Oh.
T2 would probably be really down for a Virtual Boy game.
I remember playing one of those as service merchandise back in the day. That thing gave me a headache.
And the sad part about Virtual Boys is they're all doomed to failure because Nintendo glued the ribbons for the screen lenses in place.
Or
Good
because
job,
of Virtual
Nintendo.
Boys.
That too. And a Virtual Boy is like $200, $300.
Yeah.
It's a shelf piece.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much. Pretty much. People still want them working, but they're shelf pieces. There's like one or two good games on it, and that's it. Then again, buying a full Virtual Boy collection is fairly cheap for the most part until you get to like 2 or 3 games. And then bye-bye wallet.
Here's a random note. Have we missed an opportunity not having jokey games in April? Like oddities? Like for like an April Fool's type thing? Like, not like a bad game for the month, but like something that's like a little off kilter.
That's an interesting thought. That's not a theme that we had thought. We do have. We are replacing
like Deadpool or something.
No, you can pick like a really bad game for April and announce it on April 1st, and then it'd be like April Fools. It's actually this game. Except that would probably piss a lot of people off.
That would make some. Yeah, I'd have to like deal with the
Like, we're
wrath of
playing
people
Bubsy
from the
this
time
month.
that we announce it until the first, and then
Yeah, like you announce that
Oh.
on now, and then you have to put up a video the next day just titled later, and it's like it's actually this.
later.
Yep,
We're like, we're playing Bubsy this month.
that would go along with the theme of April Fool's like now and later.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, there are some theme months that we aren't taking advantage of that I think we should. Obviously, the Halloween one will stick for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
I don't know if what could do like a Kingdom Hearts game in February, or maybe Curtis could do one of the portable ones. I don't know.
Ew.
Yeah, like
Hearts.
the April game of the month for portable is just like the Game Boy Advance version of Chains of Memory. It's like good luck with that, guys.
Yeah.
Ew.
No, we want Curtis to have fun with his with his games. Like, yeah. But yeah, no, we have some big plans. I'm pretty excited with what is there, and then again, there's still the patron one, which can get us something that's totally off the wall if enough people vote for it, or yeah, should do pickups.
Yeah, probably that would be a good thing to do. Like over 2 hours in, almost.
Well, I actually have some games this week.
Yeah, we'll get yours out of the way first.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's only 3 of them. Let's see. I picked up Breath of Fire 3. It's not a very nice copy. It came from Blockbuster. Womp, womp, womp.
Hey, as long as
I
it
don't
plays.
care. There you go. That's basically how I look at it. I also picked up Breath of Fire Dragon Quarter. Because why not? Now I have all the Breath of Fire games that are worth owning.
Yep.
Although I could have said that after I bought 3. And the big one was Magic Knight Ray Earth for the Saturn.
Oh yeah, nice. I forgot about that. And as far as Breath of Fire 3, that's also really easy as long as it's not like on the... As long as it's not like on the manual, you can replace the jewel case.
I have the Foo variant.
Anyway.
So that's the one that you were talking about on Twitter?
Very cool.
This is a friggin' $200 game disc.
That's awesome.
It's kind of sad. It made me cry when I purchased it. But at the same time, I'm a big fan of this manga. I'm a big fan of the anime they released for it. And it's honestly a really, really good action RPG. It's one of the best action RPGs on the Saturn. Of course, the Saturn's one of those consoles where if you're going to collect for it, you should be aware that you're going to spend hundreds of dollars on games. To get good games to get your cheap games, yeah, you can spend like $20-$30 on a game. To get the good games, you're spending $100+ for loose copies. Yeah, you have the Umi variant. Leave it to Working Designs to make variants of a game that end up costing hundreds of dollars for each one.
Yeah. I'm not collecting all of them, but I was curious which variant I had, so I thought I'd put it up since I pulled it out.
I have the green disc. You have the blue disc.
And is there, what's the other one, red or something?
Yep. There'd be a red disc for Umi.
Cool.
Or no, what's her name? Hikaru? I can't remember her name at the moment.
I never played it.
I read that manga and I don't remember.
It's a really good show.
It was
a really good manga. The manga is better than the show. The show is kind of... Yeah, they padded the hell out of that show.
I can't imagine why.
Well, we got to make it like 20-30 episodes instead of a half season like it should have been.
Instead of only being based on like 4 or 8 volumes of manga. Anyway, moving on.
It was 3 volumes.
Other pickups. Who wants to go?
I can go. Give Eric a chance to collect himself in case he's got stuff to show us from. We still need to ask all about Game On. So.
Game on, man. Game on.
So I took most of my.
Quote, but moving on. Sorry.
I took most of my trade box into my local shop, and they happened. This was not out on the shelf, but I asked him, and he said, "Yeah, I think I have a copy right here." I'm like, "Which version is it?" And so they had a copy of RE2.
Nice.
And so in like really good shape, and the manual's in like pretty immaculate. So I had a copy before that didn't have the manual. This one, I think I can't remember if I sold it or traded it off, but this one far outshines that copy. So and they only charged, so that shop only had this version for $16. So
yeah, you can find those for relatively cheap.
Yeah.
GameCube version, not so much, but the PlayStation 1 version still like $20 or less.
I was hoping they would have the GameCube one, but I can deal.
I'll be honest, there is no real improvement over the GameCube version, unless you like the GameCube controller.
Sure, we brought it up earlier a little bit too. So, yeah. But I had a little bit extra trade credit, so I picked up Hulk Ultimate Destruction
Very
for
nice.
the Xbox in, again, very, very good shape. Then I got a wild hair and decided that now that we're getting to the point where the house is starting to get together, and the upstairs living room, which is where I have the Switch dock and I have my Xbox One, like the Switch wasn't getting a whole lot of attention. And so I was like, well, let me go pick up a couple games. And I figure I might as well use this Elite Pro membership for as much as I can between now and when it actually expires on me. So I managed to get, and I'm kind of bummed that it is in the GameStop replacement sleeve, but it's Snipper Clips Plus, which is fine. I mean, the cases are still decent. They're not. Yeah. They aren't. They're a little less transparent as the standard cases, but it'll work. It's fine. I usually keep my games in those little, like the clamshell case I have has the little like holds 4 games thing.
Well,
so I really don't need those. And then I got Octopath.
Nice. Musty, just to give you a heads up, if you have a good printer, you can usually find the cover art and print that off.
Yeah.
To replace the GameStop cover art.
I can do that at work probably. We'll see.
Yeah.
It's just snipper clips. It's not a huge deal. But yeah, with the Elite Pro membership.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I should go look for that at my GameStop.
Yeah. There was this one copy. I asked him, like, how did this guy trade this in already? It hasn't even been a month. He's like, well, either based on the condition, he's like, either the guy totally hated it, or he's a burner who just plays through it and that's it, and doesn't really
anything else.
Doesn't dive into it for much more than that. But I started. I'm like 3 hours in at this point. I really like the aesthetic. I'm interested to have conversations with some people about who they chose as their starters, because I went what seems to be a different route than a lot of people are suggesting, because I just didn't bother to look into it before I started. So I just actually I let my son pick who I started with.
Hey, that can be more fun.
Yeah. I mean,
because sometimes when you
the opening
research
for because it was Cyrus is who I started with, who's the scholar / mage, and
the only thing is, I heard whoever you start with is basically your party leader for the whole game.
Yep. Mm-hmm. But
so pick someone you like.
His opening story, like he sat and watched that whole thing. Like he was actually like engrossed in it, and I was reading the story to him and stuff. It was kind of cool. Almost done. I have a couple other things. A new copy of Game Informer came in today with Assassin's Creed Odyssey on the cover.
GameStop,
and there's
the
a review
magazine.
of Fortnite in here in case you needed to know.
Oh, great.
And then
GameStop,
there's
the magazine.
Right. Hey, it's how I get my discounts. And then this came in the mail. This was something that Bill was going to bring down to me for C3 as part of our trade. But I don't know what happened, but he ended up not making its way in the box, and he realized it, so he sent it to me. But yeah, so he mailed this to me with a new copy of the STC handbill, which is awesome. So this book is written by some guy named Willie. Just kidding.
They're wild, they're mocked.
I know. I'm throwback to the STC pickup video where this got found, where Joe seemed to think that this was the author.
I could see how he'd make that mistake.
Yeah, but yeah. So I figured,
especially if you know nothing about that game. It's a movie, by the way.
I have played a bit of it, but I have no idea how far.
Trust me, that guide makes it so much easier because that game is confusing as hell to get through.
Yeah, but yeah,
there's so much stuff you can miss.
I'm on this I don't know why, but I'm on this literature and strategy guide kick a little bit. So I figured I might as well. He was like, I don't need it. I don't want it. And it's like, okay, well.
I would recommend skipping the second game if you do play through all three of them. Because the second game is not good. The second game is not good.
Here. I mean, they're what? You say they're 70-hour games? They are, aren't they?
Actually, they're about 30 to 40-hour games.
Oh, okay.
So I think the longest one can take 50, but that's if you know what you're doing. That's the caveat for a lot of these. They can take 100+ hours if you just go in completely blind. I don't need a guide. Yeah, it's going to take you forever to beat a lot of RPGs if you go in with I don't need a guide. Which, to some people, that's more fun, but if you're trying to get through the game at a decent pace, a guide can help.
Okay.
Especially with that game. And for the second game, I'd recommend going to watch the movie on YouTube. Because the story is excellent. The game is horrible.
Gotcha.
Horrible.
Moving on.
The actual,
cool.
Moving around's okay, but that battle system sucked.
Moving on, is that all your pickups?
Yes, that's everything.
Cool, you found a used copy of Octopath already.
Yeah, I
guess that person took the Octopath less traveled.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
There's people that bought it for the hype and then didn't like it. I've heard a few accounts of that.
Could be good. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't care. It's mine now.
Pretty much.
I saved $15 and waited. I kind of struggled with that one because it was like, should I pick it up? You know what? I'm gonna want to play it this calendar year, right? That's a game that maybe we'll be talking about at some point, maybe toward the end of this year. So
I'll probably pick it up to sit around and play between classes.
Yeah,
if I'm still playing Dragon
super
Quest.
It's super easy to pick up and play a little bit. The story
hit
beats
that home button, and then that's the great thing about the Switch is any game, hit that home button and do whatever the heck you need to do.
Smash
it's
that
not
home
like
button.
most games. It's not like some games where it's like, hold on, I'm in the middle of a cutscene. Hold on, 5 minutes. I don't always have 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Or like my brother, where I'll ask him, hey, can you do this? Yeah, after this match. 2 hours later. What the heck, man?
Yeah.
Though that's more just him being lazy than probably the game itself.
Oh, so, Fitnat, did you have anything?
Nope. Who wants to go next?
I have a few things. I have a few things. Let's see. So more PC Engine and Turbo stuff.
Ooh.
So
I like PC Engine.
Ooh.
Nice.
and then I looked a little bit into this game. It's supposed to be another good shmup for the system. I think it's Ray Zanber 3. And then I bought a PAL NES game I was looking at. I had heard about called the Euphoria.
Ooh, nice.
Has a German video store sticker.
Nice.
That'll be my U game for the ABC challenge.
Nice. I have that on the Wii U Virtual Console.
Well, what was it?
And that's it. That's it.
I thought I think about it. I've actually been trying to convince my brother to. Well, I want to make. You know how there's like the Super UFO 8 for the Super Nintendo? I want to make like a Famicom to NES converter that also applies translation patches. Because I think there'd be one heck of a market for that thing.
Come to NES. So like it'd be like a honeybee that does patches?
Yeah. I think there'd be a market for that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Of course, that's also a lot of engineering and like programming work.
Yeah, I'd say that would take a really long time to develop.
Not as long as you'd think, but yeah.
Well, for a college student, a full-time college student, it would.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Eric, tell us about Game On.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we I had to work Friday. Now, this expo is a 3-day expo, which I didn't know. The vendor floor is actually open all 3 days. So it opened on Friday. I think at 1. It opened a little later, but I didn't take Friday off. So we got down there late, Phoenix, about 8 p.m. Curtis and Chris Roberts picked us up at the airport. Ness Complex, he was flying in too. He was going to arrive about the same time, but his flight got delayed. So we left him. We left him at the airport, and Vintage went and picked him up. But we missed the expo the first day. We didn't get in until like 9 or 10, and the auction was going on or something. But we decided we would just kind of get to the hotel and hang out. And Vintage and Nest Complex were down the hall, so we kind of hung out with them the first night, just a little bit in the hotel. Kind of like C3. We just kind of went to their hotel. It wasn't as rowdy because there were only a few of us, but a little bit of drinking, just chilling out with Chris and Curtis, Melissa, Julian. Yeah, Julian was there too. He stayed at a separate hotel, but he kept Ubering over to meet us, and so we just kind of hung out on Friday, and then we slept a little bit. I wasn't in a big rush to get to the thing. It turns out we had VIP passes, which I didn't remember ordering. So we got there like 7 minutes with 7 minutes left on our VIP time. And we ditched Chris and Curtis. And we said, well, we're going to go in just now. And we made it to like the first table, and we saw John Riggs. He's from the Northwest, so that was kind of neat seeing him there. And, I'll still call them Aaron and Ricky from the Nest Pursuit. They were there. So we said hi to them, and we just looked around a bit. The expo was pretty good. It was, it's probably in a show floor about the size of PRGE, but I don't think there are as many tables. And a lot of them were craft tables. There were not, it was like 50-50 video games to crafting, where PRGE is like 90-10.
I think this year's going to be the test for that, though. I think this would be the year, because I noticed Midwest it seemed like they were missing a bunch of tables this year. So I almost have a feeling like there's a recession on the vendors, if you will. Just small observation. Okay. And I'm saying that because we'll see if Portland's about the same. Then I'm just going by the general stores right around me don't have stock. Like the only store is the Carney store, if you will. Yeah. Other than that, like everywhere around me, like I walk through like on my lunch break at the one store that used to be fully stocked of PS2. Like rows upon rows. They have nothing, like anymore for PS2. They're like just your sports titles. I just have a feeling like stores are, just can't get stock right now, or what, just minor observation. So I'll let you continue.
Yeah, I'll keep it in mind because this was crazy. I've never seen so many artists. But one thing that Game On Expo has that at least PRGE doesn't have, I don't remember Midwest, was they had a bunch of the celebrity voice talent. So they had some of the Mortal Kombat guys there. Not Tony. Hale, the woman. Jennifer Hale was there. Troy Baker was there. The guy who did Halo was there. Huh?
Troy Baker is someone I would love to meet, basically. So
yeah. Okay, I didn't go up to any of them, to be honest with you. But the guy who did Halo was there too. Yeah, we just hung out, and I went to the Cheap Ass Gamer panel that day. That was kind of interesting. We won a couple prizes there. And then it was just sort of a repeat. Actually, Saturday night we went out to Bookman's. Curtis really wanted to go out to Bookman's, which is a used. It's like a Value Village, but a higher end. I mean, it's got used. Everything is used, but they had tons of stuff, tons of games, tons of toys and stuff like that. So we went to both Bookman's in the area. Curtis wanted to go to both. And then we hung out again with those guys. And then early Sunday, everybody had to leave, or not everybody, the Californians had to leave to get driving back. So we spent the afternoon hanging out with Julian and Vintage. And there was a sandstorm. Our flight was delayed on Sunday night. That was right as we were supposed to head to the airport. There was a sandstorm. So, yeah, I don't know. Is there anything you wanted to know about it? I mean, it was...
Did you get to meet anybody?
I was thinking exactly the same thing.
What was that?
The Sandstorm song.
Oh, sorry, no.
So, did you get to meet any of the celebrities there?
If you mean like actual celebrities, no, I didn't go over there. The Halo guy was charging a bunch for autographs, and I didn't care about the Mortal Kombat. I am sorry, no, I didn't. And if you're asking about YouTube celebrities, Billy, the Game Chasers were there, and I said, hey, Pat Contry was there, and Ian. I didn't say anything to those guys.
Ian seems to know you, though. He made a post on Twitter, I think, to you guys, right?
If he did, I didn't see it. No. Anyway, Julian played a game against 8-Bit Eric, a wrestling dice game. So that was kind of fun to watch that for a little bit, although I didn't understand the rules. So it kind of went on for a little bit too long, I think. But yeah, I mean, I was mostly interested in just hanging out with, some of the people that we know and looking for some games. So it was pretty chill. Most of Sunday, I just sat around at one of the tables, and I talked to Julian and Chris Roberts and Curtis until they had to leave. So yeah, it was a good time. You got to see the guys from the Southwest, from California and Phoenix. Gamester he was running around like a crazy person. He barely, I don't think anybody spent a lot of time with him. He was pretty busy. So,
yeah, that's what happens when you're
as an organizer.
Yeah, right? Yeah. There was a girl at the end on Sunday who got arrested for shoplifting. They had her handcuffed out in the lobby.
What?
There were 3 police officers surrounding her, and she was handcuffed in a chair.
Now we're getting to the good stuff.
I mean, I don't know what this is. They wouldn't let us go out this one door, and we're like, well, come on. There's
and they still let Melissa fly home?
Huh?
And they still let Melissa fly home?
Was she wearing a striped shirt, like a striped shirt, or was it an orange,
No. Anyway, yeah, so she was... I'm trying to think of the crazy stuff that happened. I don't know if there was anything really crazy. Yeah, this girl was arrested for shoplifting, and I think that's about it. It was we met some other people too. I guess I never knew who this guy was. Apparently, he's like a huge YouTube guy. Lots of games. This is the guy whose house burned and he lost most of his collection. He's got like
130
130 some thousand subscribers. Apparently, he's a big. I didn't follow him. But was chatting to him.
That was
for
the
a
guy
while.
in the like San Francisco area, right?
I'm not sure exactly where, but I'm pretty sure his house was hit by the.
Like the hills
had
of
to
California.
get out in the middle of the night. Yeah. He's a real nice guy, real friendly. And I was just talking to him. I had no idea who he was, and I looked it up later, and it turns out he's got 100 and some thousand subs. But Vintage introduced
went
us.
off for a while. Like he wasn't doing stuff for a while.
Yeah. Okay. So, and we met Tyler from iRetro Gamer. That was kind of cool because he's a big Sega guy. He had some Sega Master System import games, but he sold them on Friday. There were a few he had left, but I wasn't. They weren't. I wasn't interested in them. So, yeah, it was a good time. It was a fast weekend. You know, we flew out Friday and came back Sunday, and you might have seen on Twitter. We got back so late, and I slept in and missed my meeting, so that kind of sucked. But good times. Good times. Not as big as PRGE, I don't think. PRGE
We're
is
down to
still
like 65 days, I think.
Yeah.
So when you mean not as big as PRG, do you mean like space wise, or do you mean just because of the vendors wise?
I claim no,
or,
I think
or population wise, or would you say like amount of people wise?
No, yeah, okay. So in terms of the room, it was probably about as big as how PRGE is kind of in an L.
Yeah.
So it's like a room and a half. So that the Game On Expo was like one of the rooms, like the one big long room of PRGE. So if you cut off all the arcade stuff, it'd be like that. In terms of vendors, it seemed like it was fewer, especially since half of them were crafts and stuff, and I don't pay attention to that.
Yeah.
That's
arcade most conventions, though.
Huh?
That's most conventions now, though, is half of its craft.
Yeah, I'm not.
Or more. If you go to MagFest, you're not going there to buy games. If you go to MagFest to buy games, you're going to have a really bad time.
Only like half a dozen, I think, sellers.
And then you have stuff like Video Games New York, where don't even bother going to their booth. They're like $20 to $30 over on everything.
Okay. You almost wonder, too, because I don't know how much most of these places have for they're charging per table. But I think Midwest is $40 a table. So if you want 2 tables, it's 80. So the funny thing is, I almost wonder if like that's just like the standard. Like $40. I know Hodge charges 10. I think Hodge charges 10 for his.
Let me put it this way: the big conventions, like to get into too many games, that's like $1,000+ for the table.
For one table.
Something like that, yes. It's like insane amount of money to get into there. And it's the same for like MagFest. To get into a vendor table is an insane amount of money.
Because I still think $40 is pretty pricey. Where I think if you did, $10, you'd probably get a lot more people willing to put up $10 for a table. Because that's what Hodge, I believe, sells his tables for.
The tables are 40.
40? Okay, so he's about across the board then for his table.
Okay. That's why at like too many games in MagFest and places like that here on the East Coast, those conventions, all the games are very higher. You have to pay con prices for stuff because everything's more expensive because they have to factor in, we just paid hundreds of dollars to get a table space in here. Mm-hmm. But that's also a convention that's been backed up for years. It takes years to get into even getting a table there. The only reason I know that is I have friends that tried to get tables, like friends that own game stores that tried to get a table at too many games, and they basically got told no.
I've been told too what the process is for next year. That I think they're asking people to put a down payment on your table next year for Midwest.
Oh, they have people who flaked. Do you think?
I think so, and maybe that's the reason for it. Makes sense. I understand. My understanding is just talking, with I guess one of the guys. Basically, it seems like I guess they're just trying to get guaranteed maybe more people, as opposed to where if you put the money down, you're probably going to show up more. Because at first I heard, I was like, down payment, he's like, yeah, because they want you to pay whatever before they come. So maybe it was a thing. I also chalk up to the weather last year too was kind of a thing too, you know. When years prior, like I said, the year that I saw Ian there, like the year before you showed up, Musty, it was like 78 degrees outside or 80 degrees outside. Yeah. You know, it's April in Wisconsin. You can have either 80 or snow, you know, 10 feet of snow like we had. So, I don't know. This is the first year I've ever seen it that bad, but I don't know. Maybe it's just, maybe you're right. Maybe there was someone, because I just heard that's what the case, and I was like, well, what's going on with this? And he was like, I don't know. I don't want to get too far down the rabbit hole with that. Basically, just hearing that like they're asking people to put money down on tables this year, you know, for next year. But anyways, I have pickups. I can do that.
Do it.
You have presentation powers, Musty?
I do.
So, buttons.
There you go.
So one of my treat yourself birthday gifts came in the mail the other day. I had to order from PlayAsia because this was never released physically in the United States, but I believe it is the Hong Kong release of this game, because it's mostly in English on the front and the back with a little bit of, I'm guessing, I'm guessing Japanese because it says provided English and Japanese on here, but it is the physical release of Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition. Now, I have Devil May Cry 4 on the PS3, but the Special Edition includes a virtual story mode, which isn't on the original release, and you can play as Trish and Lady from Devil May Cry 3. On the back, it lists the right here lists the English and Japanese voice actors, you know, for Virgil and or for Nero and Dante, and it's mostly in English on this game, so I'm willing to accept it. This is how I guess they do their. We get the crappy red cases now in the United States for their greatest hits. They just get a sticker, so I much prefer that. But it will play because the PS4 is region free, so I got this one. I've been wanting to play it. I know it was on sale digitally a few weeks back, like the week of my birthday, but I rather have that physical copy because I actually really do like Devil May Cry 4. So that was that. Best Buy, not this, maybe it was on Sunday. I can't remember when they actually announced it. Maybe it was Saturday. It was maybe Saturday, but it came in the mail. Either way, they had a clearance sale on their website, and they dropped a lot of percentages on. And Gamers Club Unlock still worked with this, so I picked this one up. This was originally clearance down to $5, so picked this up.
Nice.
And still got my Gamers Club Unlocked on top of that. And I figured, why not? The PS4 version was sold out on this, but I'm probably going to trade in my standard base Xbox for the Pro. And this is 4K, not Pro, I'm sorry, the Xbox One X, because they have a pretty decent trade-in right now at GameStop for it. And this one's 4K compatible. So I picked up a Skyrim bundle, I guess it was. Now, granted, the box is kind of shit, but I honestly didn't know it was this edition I was getting. I thought it was just a straight-up complete edition. And they had this marked down from $60 to $15. So I picked these both up for about, I think it was about $13 for both of this. So
I've been trying to get that Skyrim. I missed it.
So
it's sold out.
Even the Xbox One sold out? Because that one's still like available the next day. When I woke up and I looked at it.
I waited on it, and by the time I went to it, it says check stores, and I've checked stores in my area, in my parents' area, in your area, and they're nowhere near 250 miles. So
yeah, I didn't have any, I think, for in-store pickup, but like their website still had them, so I had them ship it to me. So I get the cool hat and a steel case plus the game. So I'm gonna play this on the Xbox One X some point down the road. And today I picked up, because I noticed this morning on Amazon, and because I follow Cheap Ass Gamer, and then Walmart matched the price, and then Best Buy matched the price on 4 Nintendo Switch games, where they dropped them down from $60 to $45. They were Breath of the Wild, they were Mario Odyssey, they were Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and they were Mario Tennis Aces. One game I was thinking about buying on my birthday, and I'm glad I held off for just a couple of weeks, because they brought it down to $45, and with Gamers Club Unlocked, it was about $36. So snag that up today. Brand new still. I haven't opened it up yet.
I asked Melissa about picking that up today.
So I placed it up, picked it up on my lunch break, and now I have a game I really wanted. So
nice.
That's my pickups for this week.
Nice.
I didn't even know that Skyrim bundle was a thing.
Yeah, it's only at Best Buy. It's a Best Buy exclusive.
Best Buys.
Yeah.
It might only be in the US.
I get a cool hat. So hopefully this game's good.
Cool hat.
Exclusive.
Relaunch exclusive. Nothing? Nobody? Okay, moving on. Anyone else have pickups that didn't go?
So Eric, you just saving your video for pickups, or did you not buy anything in?
I don't know. I didn't buy much. I'll show you one thing. I got actually.
Are you just saving for your Portland funds, PRG funds?
No, I just didn't find a lot. Let me show you something that Julian gave me, and I'll be right back.
Wolfenstein.
Yeah, Julian gave me it's not the game, it's just the box. And
there's no game in there?
No, he wanted the game, but he didn't want the dude. I don't know what else comes in this, but I got the figure. He just gave it to me. So
nice.
I already have the game.
I never know what to do with all that stuff.
Huh?
I never know what to do with those giant collector's edition boxes.
Yeah. I'll just stick it on a shelf somewhere. But yeah, so thanks.
Take the guy out. Take Billy Blazkowicz out and put him somewhere.
Yeah, free them from their plastic cages.
He's in my display case. I have him down there. I switched him to the. He's got the leather bomber jacket instead of the black and yellow one. I switched it.
I really enjoyed that game. That was. I wasn't that big of a fan of the first game, but I really enjoyed that second one. That second one was a good time.
And this, let me show one more thing, if you don't mind. This was inspired by C3. Actually, I think Chris, you gave these or made a trade with Scott, and I saw them at the Game On Expo, and the guy was doing a pretty good price. So I happened to grab sealed copies of summer and winter games for the Atari 2600 also. I don't really care about sealed games, but these were so cheap that I might just crack a pair. So Chris, were the ones that, am I remembering it correctly? Did you give these to Scott or vice versa?
I sold them to him.
Yeah. Okay.
I think.
Were they sealed?
They were. They're smushed. I think.
Yeah,
I think
mine are smushed too.
I think they were like, I don't know. I think some for like four for like $30.
Yeah. So after seeing yours and then seeing this guy had a bunch of these, I'm like, these can't be that rare. So I'm opening them. I think I'll probably open them.
You should do a video.
Oh my!
That's what Chris Roberts said.
Actually opening freaking toys and figures. Q-Dog's actually opening his figures.
Well, no, these are These are not amiibos, but these cartridges I'll open.
Perfect.
Anyway, yeah, I'll do it.
Amiibos are meant to be sealed. They're meant to be sealed, never touched.
You'll open them to save the space.
Never.
Yeah. You want to know something? I'll tell you this. I did something really dumb. We won a Corinne amiibo.
It's version 2, I think, right?
No, just the regular one. We won it in a raffle at the Cheap Ass Gamer thing, and I'm like, I already have this one. And they had a Crom. I call it Crom. CHROM Fire Emblem. And the guy wanted 25 for it. I'm like, how about if you trade this and we'll throw in a little bit of money? And he said, sure. And so I traded Corinne and gave him, I think, $15. And I'm like, well, 15, that's what I would pay for an amiibo. So it's basically like paying for an amiibo, almost a little more than retail. Not a great trade, but I'm like, well, turns out I already had Crom.
Boo.
Yeah. So that was one of the more costly duplicate purchases I've ever made.
That means you can open that one, right? According to Joe Logic.
That's true. I was hoping I could get some trading credit for it, but yeah, I was really pissed that I I have so many amiibo, I can't keep track of which one's in the Crom one. He's been stuck in a. I don't have room for him, so he's stuck in a cabinet, which is why I forgot I had him because I never see him.
You didn't look at the spreadsheet?
Nope.
You didn't bring it with him.
Made a mistake. Yeah, the thing is, amiibos and stuff like that. They're not on my wish list, so I don't have them in my. I could have avoided the mistake. I went by my memory, and that was a huge mistake. So I paid a little bit more money than I should have for an amiibo that I already had. Damn it. Anyway,
it's not the end of the world.
No, it's not. I'll show the rest of my pickups in a pickup video coming out, hopefully within a week or so. Thanks, Julian.
BRG, woo! Okay.
Can't wait.
One convention ends and 2 more rise to take its place.
Right, Barry's next weekend.
One. Yeah.
Oh, I guess that's another thing is maybe some of these just there's so many conventions now that they're pulling vendors in a million different directions too. Is another possibility. I don't know.
Yeah, but the big ones would be where the highest volume is. Like, yeah, these little local those local ones are probably good for the bigger vendors because they're the only they'll have better inventory, but they don't have the big fish that a Game On or a Too Many Games or
there's people there going specifically to pay like $400 for a damn game, or $1,200 for 3 games, There's people, there's collectors there who are there for a reason to drop big cash, and they don't care, they don't want to search around. They just want the thing they want, and they want a good shape, Like if you want to play the waiting game, you can, but there's people there who just don't want to mess around. They want to end whatever they're pursuing, get the thing they want, and then bounce.
Yeah, and those are the people that are also willing to pay whatever the hell they find it for it.
Yep.
Yeah. Because
I think I did that when I went to Too Many Games. I was dead set on finding a copy of Phantasy Star 4, so I went all around the game room like, ooh, Phantasy Star 4, here, take my money. And then I found another copy cheaper, and another copy cheaper, and then another copy cheaper. And I'm like, damn it, son of a... What the hell, me?
I will do a lap. Before I generally do any purchases, unless I see something like for already below my 20% price. If I see something like immediately below my price, I'm jumping on it because I have everything mapped out and price-wise that I want. So if it's already below that and I can still make them an offer, I'm jumping on it because there's a good chance I'm not going to find that cheaper anywhere else.
I hope Chris Roberts shows up to PRG. That'd be kind of funny to see him with Mighty Chavo. They're just shaking down all the vendors.
Oh yeah.
That should be a competition in a video. See who
See who can get the best deals.
Who can
get the best deals.
Yeah, I was trying to get some tips from Chris. I'm sure he was shaking his head at my.
I just got off recording Dollar Dorks with Chris.
There you go. No, he mentioned that.
It's a long one.
I'm curious to hear what he has to say because he told me he was going to talk about Game On.
Yeah, he talked about
anything about anything about scummy eBay buyers?
Yep.
I know.
If you get someone buying your stuff on eBay and it has a freaking reference number in the name, Google them.
He talked about that actually. He said the reference number can happen if it's a global shipping program.
Yeah, but still, it's kind of like,
yeah,
it's kind of a red flag to me, especially when it's like, depending on what your item is. If you're saying like a comic or something, I can see that happening. If you're selling a freaking circuit board that goes into a Super Nintendo Junior, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It literally makes no sense. So it all depends on what you're selling too. So it's kind of just like, it raised a couple red flags to me and I was just like, no. But that, and if you Google them and you instantly see like the first 5 results are all people complaining about how they got scammed by these people.
Yeah. That's a big red flag.
Yeah. Going back for like over a decade. And there's apparently had multiple accounts over the past decade. So it's kind of like, okay then, I'm not selling this to you. You can hit my blocked bidders list.
Yeah.
So, yeah. You don't have to sell something to someone on eBay. You can literally cancel their order. And say there was a problem with the address, or that you ran out of stock, or whatever.
Yep.
Of course, if you say you ran out of stock, you can't wait. You have to wait a while before you relist the damn thing. Which is why I went with there was a problem with the address, because I'm like, no.
I really liked being on Dollar Dorks. It was funny just hearing Chris riff on all those jokes about Joe.
He didn't do that this time. I think Curtis was the focus and Canadians.
Oh, he loves poking fun at Canada.
He poked fun at Canada more this time than last time.
Then take away your moose. He always says that.
Yeah. It's too quiet for this many people.
Yeah, sorry. And what's going on?
So, Eric, how are the earplugs?
Earplugs? What are earplugs?
For
the
sleeping in the
hotel?
Yeah.
I didn't use them.
Oh, okay.
Those guys were more concerned about. Maybe I'm the loudest snorer. I don't know. I was fine.
Oh yeah,
like, whatever.
I should probably bring that next year to Too Many Games, or not Too Many Games, but MagFest. That was fun. Little did I know, the people I roomed with were very, very loud snorers.
Yeah. Oh, I think
nothing against them.
I think I roomed with, was it John Chapman? I know he does.
Yeah, it's like nothing against you, man. It's just like, holy crap. I just wish I knew beforehand so I could buy earplugs.
I have a big finger to point at people who are snorers and complain about other snorers. You know, you're a snorer. Suck it up. No, sorry.
Hey, man, you can't help it.
No, I actually bought a mouth guard because I felt bad for people. So I know, according to Dean, because I tried it out last year at PRG and he said it worked. So I bought like one of those mouth guards. Apparently, it holds down your tongue and everything, and then it stops your snoring. And apparently, it worked. So I tried it out, and then I rocked it for Scott's benefit at C3. So that's something. When I'm at home, I'm gonna snore as loud as I can. Hopefully I can shake the windows. But anyone who's a snorer who complains about other people, I know I have friends. I'll shake my finger at you.
Well, no, I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining.
I can deal it.
I just, I didn't have to use the earplugs. I'm used to the snoring, I guess.
Melissa must be sawing wood or something like that.
Yeah. Every one of us snored. All four of us. We all four snore. I snore. Melissa snores. Chris and Curtis snore.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah.
Good little snore talk here.
Didn't bug me.
The goal is just not to be the last person to go to sleep.
Yeah, which is not my problem.
If you're the guy that doesn't snore,
I'll let everyone
go to sleep first.
Yeah,
I'm sleeping.
Curtis,
if you're the guy that doesn't snore and can't sleep when people are snoring, be the first one to go to sleep.
Yep. I'll give you time. I'll give you time, man. But if you're gonna stay up reading or playing your video games, the hell with you. That's on you. That ain't on me.
I also remember having roommates before that liked to watch TV all night, and I'm sitting there going, damn it, turn the freaking TV off. I can't sleep with all that noise. But, hey, man, we all have different habits.
Well, this is a new milestone. We've just recorded the first Cartridge Club Snorecast.
Good little snore chat. I like the sound of this.
I can bring it back to games really quick.
Oh, is it a good snoring game?
Oh boy,
we're gonna talk about RPG.
No, we should talk about the crazy string of reveals from last week.
Oh, the last 3 days from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah. I mean, we got all our plagiarism talk out of our systems
let's talk about Smash because Yoshi loves some Smash Brothers. Oh man, I can't wait to talk about Smash Brothers with Yoshi. His favorite game. Look at there's a Smash Brothers poster right behind him. Look at that, beautiful. Actually, I see a second one to the right of him or to the left of him.
Yeah, that's because I bought those when Nintendo got those when Nintendo was giving them away. No, I like the characters. I don't give a damn about fighting games.
Champion right there. We got our favorite Smash Brothers player right here.
Is it possible to start the second episode of a Snorcast during the first one? Yeah, but I was excited to see the Castlevania characters in Smash at least. That was cool.
It wasn't. You know what? There's one thing. Even if you don't like Smash, you have to love like the little attention to detail for some of the games, like that they actually made Richter more like the Rondo of Blood, like anime style from like the cutscenes that come with Rondo of Blood.
Anime style.
If the new Smash Brothers game has a story mode, I will probably go buy it.
You're going to probably wait for that next direct.
I am not into competitive Smash Brothers and how all the mechanics of all the different characters work and all this other crap they keep going into. That just pisses me off because they're putting way too much time and effort in it. I get it. The competitive fans want to know all that crap. I'm not into competitive gaming at all.
But do you
I'm actually probably going to go sell.
Spoiled from the story mode then? You know, it's like, you know, the game's not coming out to December. You imagine they're going to do one more reveal. And I imagine there's probably at least 3 more characters they're going to spoil, you know.
Because I remember Smash Brothers for the Wii U. I played it. I unlocked all the characters. I pretty much never touched it again after that. Yeah. Unless a friend came over and wanted to play it, in which case I was just like grown because I always suck at the game. I'm pretty bad at Smash Brothers.
Get good.
I don't want to. I'm not a fighting game fan. Never have been. I'm probably going to go sell my other copies of Smash Brothers, you know, closer to when the new one goes out, because the prices all go up.
Good plan.
Because I'm trying to get rid of the 3DS version, probably the Wii U version, and the N64 game.
No.
You don't need more than one version of Smash Brothers. It's all the same damn
you
thing.
don't need more than one version of Smash Brothers.
But if my backup breaks and that backup breaks, then I only have 2 more.
Oh, where's Joe?
Whatever. I am not the biggest fan of Smash Brothers. I can enjoy the game for what it is in a non-competitive environment, like just screwing around with a couple friends. But as soon as you bring in the competitive aspect of it and caring about all the mechanics of all the different characters, no, you've lost me.
How do you have the game without the mechanics?
Hey,
even in a non-competitive setting.
I just don't care.
I don't care about all the mechanic going into detail of how every character works and what every character does and all the special moves of every character.
But they want to show you the fact that they. Stuff. But I mean, like they're showing you that they've paid attention to the details of that character, right? If they added a character that you were like very very passionate about and they didn't get their side smash correctly, wouldn't you be upset?
Yeah, like perfect example, Musty. Like, let's say, like, you know, your favorite, you know, RPG character, if you will. You know, like their attacks are based off their attacks from a video game. If it was just some blatant, boring attack, basically, that was like nothing to do with the character, but because of the fact that they have something like the long whip, or even the fact that like in Super Castlevania you can just dangle the whip, you know, little stuff like that. Basically, it's like.
I think the biggest problem I had with Smash Brothers this year is they spent 2/3 of their E3 Direct on Smash Brothers.
What else is
As
there
I'm sitting there watching it going, is there another game coming?
No.
Are you going to reveal something else? You already told us about Smash Brothers. We already knew it was coming. Yeah. Why are you spending 20 freaking minutes on Smash Brothers?
They said they would be talking a lot about Smash.
I didn't pay attention to anything they said beforehand. I just showed up and watched the Direct and then got pissed off when they spent 30 minutes on Smash Brothers or whatever.
Come on, this was not nearly as bad as like 2015 when all they had was like Paper Mario. And that was it. That was like the worst E3 for them.
I don't know. I don't pay attention to E3 much anyway.
When the Wii was completely dead and they didn't show anything about the Switch, they're like, oh, all we have this year is Paper Mario. and it was a terrible Paper Mario, according to most people.
Which the
Color Splash?
Yeah.
This one?
No.
The one on the Wii U.
That's not even that bad of a game, apparently.
Again,
people have been hating on Paper Mario ever since after Thousand Year Door. Because the later ones are not 1,000 Year Door remade, basically.
Well, the thing is that the first one and 1,000 Year Door don't have gimmicks, and everyone after that has a gimmick to it. So, and then you have to play the game. They ran out of ideas. Yeah, as opposed to just making another one. People just want another Mario RPG that's just the basics and a different story. That's all people want. But Nintendo's never about that. Nintendo's always about a gimmick.
Yep.
So.
From what I've seen, even the Mario and Luigi series is less gimmicky than those later Paper Marios.
Yeah, I never was able to get into that series. Actually,
So
I tried with the first one. I haven't even played the later Paper Mario games. I've only played the first two. I own all of the Paper Mario games, mainly because some of them was like, yeah, sure, why not? There's not much else to buy on this console.
Going to be
like
completely
Wii U,
honest,
for example.
Going to be completely honest, I forgot I had 1,000 Year Door until this came up.
So, bring this back to Smash. Who's getting Smash this year?
I'll probably get it.
I probably will.
This is a
Me.
multiplayer.
I'm not paying full
Probably.
price.
Good for you.
Well, I'll still have.
Nintendo's lawyers
That's
are going to be
fine.
coming and knocking down your door because you're not going to be buying it at full price. Kidding.
I don't care.
Hey, at least it's not Bethesda, so you can still resell your old copies.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's
Fitting.
really stupid.
We'll get to them, I think. Right?
Good segue. Let's talk Bethesda.
Yeah, that's kind of ridiculous. Didn't someone
I
get
don't wanna
sued
talk about
by
that.
Bethesda? Didn't someone get sued by Bethesda for
He
trying to
listed his
sell
used
their
copy.
He's selling
no,
used
a
copy.
still
He's
sealed
selling copy.
copy on Amazon or something.
Yeah. Like, he wasn't
Jeez.
sued, but he was threatened with legal action if he didn't remove it. I
For
think.
selling the copy he bought.
Yep.
That was still new.
Yep. And I believe the reason they gave is you can claim like that they're selling it illegally if there's a physical difference, or not physical, but like I don't remember the word they used, but some kind of tangible difference or thing missing, and it's like it doesn't have a warranty, so it's not the full game. Legal teams working overtime to find that one.
Legal teams people hate lawyers because of stuff like this.
Hate that kind of lawyer, at least.
Well, a lot of lawyers find stupid little loopholes like that. Why do you think Nintendo sued people for $100 million over ROM sites?
Well, that's a legitimate.
No, they didn't sue him. They threatened to sue him.
Yeah, and that's a
No,
legitimate thing. Like,
they sued the other guy.
They sued one guy for like $100 million. So he's basically bankrupt for life.
well, they actually have a point with ROMs. We may not like it, but they do. But for reselling a freaking used copy of a game because it doesn't have a warranty? What the? Like, if it's because it's resale, if it's because it's sealed, and you can argue that they potentially stole it, much like when you try and trade something into like GameStop or something like that, that I could get. It would be dumb, but I could get it.
If it had like a map price,
Yeah,
you can't sell below a certain price, and you're trying to sell it.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I'll take the
that would get pulled. I can get.
You want to hear something sad? Let's see. I know I was in the local game store the other day, and this lady came in with a bunch of N64 boxes. Guess what she did with the games? She took them all to GameStop and traded all the games in at GameStop, and probably got like really dirt cheap. And they told her they didn't want any of the boxes. She had like pristine, complete in-box copies of like Smash Brothers, Star Fox, all sorts of stuff. And GameStop told them that they were going to throw away the boxes. So they sent the boxes to the store. So
did you buy them?
No. The local store bought them. And then took the same copies they had of those games that were loose and put them in the boxes and sold them as box copies. And the funny part was they got some collectors that come in like every week, and one of them's like, I must buy complete copies of things. He refused to buy the game loose. They put it in a box. He buys the game for like 2 to 3 times as much.
Hey, it's the principle of the thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Red
I don't know why
Dead.
that just came out.
Red Dead 2.
Woo.
What?
Woo.
So Thursday they had the gameplay reveal for
Woo.
Red Dead. That looks.
I'm gonna get lost in that and Spider-Man over the next, for the rest of the year. As soon as Spider-Man comes out, I'm probably gonna just get lost, and then same thing with Red Dead. As soon as that comes out, I'm just gonna get lost. Can't wait. Woo!
Get lost.
Get lost. Woo!
Yeah, it looks so good.
Yeah, I've only seen a little bit of it. I'm trying to avoid seeing much of it. I know, not for spoilers or anything, just because.
Yeah, there's nothing you're gonna. I really don't think you'll catch anything spoiler wise on it, but
they showed some new mechanics a little bit, with the game.
Yeah, it's not like I haven't already had the ending to the first game spoiled for me, but anyway,
well, this is a prequel. So you
Revolver or
no Redemption. Yeah, I was about to correct myself. I'm like, who cares? Moving on. And then you had to bring it up.
Man.
I
almost funny.
What's funny, Yoshi?
Making a game. Okay, releasing a game and then releasing a game as the second game in that series that's actually a prequel to the first game. So if you played the first game, you already spoiled the ending of the second game.
That's not funny.
I wasn't going to bring
That's not necessarily true.
Detail, but I was going to say that it does bother me a little bit that the Red Dead Redemption 2 is a prequel to the first game. That just irks me in terms of titling.
But it's not like you're playing the same protagonist. It's a different
Here's the
protagonist.
game they did that.
Which
Lufia series on the Super Nintendo.
Oh.
If you play this game before Lufia 2, you spoil the ending of Lufia 2 because the ending of Lufia 2 is the beginning of Lufia 1.
Well, I suppose if you played Super Castlevania before you play Dracula X, you see the end of that, right?
Yep.
Is that right? Mm-hmm. Or is it Rondo? I don't know
Rondo,
that.
I think
Rondo's
it's
before Symphony. Rondo's before Symphony.
It's Rondo and Symphony.
There
I
you
think
go.
that do that.
Or Castlevania X, your choice.
Yeah.
Rondo.
So good luck finding Castlevania X or Rondo.
Probably easier than finding Rondo. Well, Rondo's on the PSP version, but
yeah, good luck finding a PSP that doesn't have problems.
I have one.
I have one.
I think the battery has issues on mine, but other than that,
replace my battery. Yeah.
Yeah. Mine does a battery that's probably going bad, and the UMD drive is a total piece of crap.
Well, we just put them on the SD card.
It.
Yeah, you can just put on an SD card.
Pretty much.
No, I'm excited for Red Dead. I think that looks fun. I almost think what's going to happen is they're gonna release Red Dead this year, and then next E3 they're gonna reveal the undead, because they haven't said anything about I don't. Have they said anything about story DLC? I imagine
post release content. No, yeah. I don't think so. I'm wondering if there's an online.
Well, their games are pretty hefty to begin with, but I imagine because Red Dead Undead Nightmare was kind of a hit for them too. I think that became a bestseller for both the 360 and the PS3. So I gotta imagine they gotta have an Undead revealed next year at E3 too for it. Release the game and then release Undead Nightmare as a bonus.
Have an additional yeah, I mean that would make sense.
They're going to have an online thing like GTA Online. It'll probably not interact at all with the main game, but that's fine.
Go rob banks with cowboys.
I mean, they're making this huge open world. They might as well use it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But as long as it doesn't really interfere with the single player experience, I'm good with whatever they do.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I should clarify why I was saying I was avoiding footage. It's not because I'm worried of spoilers or anything. It's just sequels whether they're prequels or not, tend to just look a hell of a lot better and have different mechanics. And it's like I don't want that in my mind when I do eventually go back and play Redemption.
Gotcha.
It's kind of like how I.
Oh, that's right, because you haven't played all the way through that.
But I haven't played any of it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because getting that spoiled for me before I even had the chance to play it just kind of turned me off of it. It's like, well, damn it. But anyway, I know I need to play it. I'm waiting for the mood to strike. But that's the same reason I've not looked into footage of Ni no Kuni 2. It's like, I still need to play the first one. I have nothing against the second one. I just don't want that expectation in my head.
Yeah. No. I guess
so quick poll: who's getting Red Dead Redemption 2 before the end of the year?
My mom loves those games.
I'm getting it. Finna, you said you're getting it?
I have anything that can play it. Actually, I lie. I have a PC that can play it, but I'm still not buying it. Ooh. I didn't play the first game.
Have they announced a PC port?
Probably not, and it'll probably be half broken, like most Rockstar PC ports.
Release it a year later.
A year later and half broken.
It's Rockstar. It's probably fine.
That's actually what they've done with most of the Rockstar ports to PC. Is they release them a year later and they're half broken, apparently.
I think they're available for modding, is what it is, really. You know.
So if it's I don't know. So if it's only half broken when it comes out, the audience will fix it by breaking the rest of it.
I mean, you always see like the Hulk, where people add like the Hulk or Iron Man or you know Superman. They add all.
No, it's all the way broken.
I don't think those are usually mods that they're building in support for. I think that's people just hacking the game.
Yeah, good stuff.
Hatsune Miku and Skyrim.
Bye, Eric.
Okay, bye guys. I'll see you next week.
Eric, quick question.
Yeah.
In Red Dead Redemption 2?
I
might before it goes out.
Is it part of the $10? I might get Super Smash because of the $10 thing and Gamers Club.
Red Dead's a part of it too.
Red
Dead's a part of it too.
Okay, I might then. Or I might. Rockstar has a history of doing great Game of the Year or something. Didn't they do that with the original Red? I can't remember.
Yeah, but now like Game of the Year comes in a red case.
It comes in a what?
Red case. Sorry, never mind. Not Game of the Year.
You think about greatest hit?
Yeah, greatest hit. Sorry, my mistake.
Yeah, no, I thought maybe sometimes I wait on those to see if I thought Rockstar used to do Game of the Year, but now I'm thinking, did they ever do that for Red Dead?
They did it. They did the complete where you got Undead and Red Dead together on.
Oh yeah, that's what I have. So I might wait.
But I think I'm not sure that was a clear case one. I think that might have been a red case only for PS3. Well, it's available now in like in the Xbox case. If you go to Best Buy in the Xbox One case, they have it there in the $20 bin.
Yeah, that's a scam.
Backwards compatible. Yeah. Scam.
It's scammy. It makes you think you're getting an Xbox One game, and you're really just getting a 360 game.
It's scam light.
Scam-like, yeah.
It's diet scam.
It's scam. It's 4K because it's 4K.
Oh boy, diet scam now with more aspartame.
Yep. All right, I will. I'll see you guys later next week. Bye.
Also, the way you advertise that is now with more with less sugar, not with more aspartame.
I think if they advertise games as 0 DLC, it would sell better.
Oh crap! My phone's dying.
Well, because if you don't have to download it, does that count?
Yeah, it's on disc.
If it's on the disc,
extensions.
Side note, just on the off chance it would matter to anybody in terms of making a mistake in purchasing, I think all like the special like edition content stuff, like the physical specials for Red Dead Redemption 2, don't come with the game. They're just the special goodies on their own.
You're right. Well, you're correct. So except for there's the one with the Steelbook, and that does have the game. But yeah, that like treasure box is just a box of goodies.
Yeah.
$100 box of goodies.
Yeah, I asked my mom if she cared about that, and she does not.
Well, I think I'm going to take off because I think my phone is starting to get mad at me. It's like really hot, and the battery's almost dead.
Uh-oh.
So.
Are you getting crypto jacked?
No.
On the phone.
I was going to look at
I've just been using it for like 3 or 4 hours, so I'm going to take off. I need to go get food anyway.
Okay. Yoshi.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of reaching that point too. But
we got one more game to talk about.
Okay.
I missed
Dumb.
pickups.
Doom.
We're gonna talk about Dumb.
Doom.
I missed my pickups.
You mean wood?
Gonna talk about Dom Toretto.
You mean wood?
Turn upside down.
Yeah, it
No.
says wood that way.
Bye, Yoshi.
I think that would be funny if you didn't have to explain it.
Well,
It would be.
Oh, maybe if my camera worked. Oh well. Wood.
Well, now that we've seen Yoshi's
Now it just
wood,
looks like
we know
woo.
now.
Now it just looks like woo, like Ric Flair. Yeah.
Ric Flair.
The nature boy.
Anyways,
so Doom.
well, let me first ask who watched the whole keynote.
I watched in parts because I was taking calls and whatnot, so I kept flipping back and forth when I was in on the phone.
Because they showed a lot of everything.
I got pulled away after the presentation, the trailer, when they started going to the PC side. We're like, let's see how fast you can play it with PC mode. And I'm like,
oh, with the mouse and keyboard stuff, yeah.
Yeah, then I got pulled away, so I didn't get to see much after that.
So the last bit when they go to Phobos, that part is you should watch that. The part where he grabs the guy by the key card. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I think I saw a GIF.
Well, I saw that in GIF form where he drags into what the from the neck to the thing to open.
Yeah. That last section, because there's a moment at the end where you see the big bad, or a big bad, and then
he
something.
pulls out the big sword, right?
Yeah, that part.
Musty, haven't you worked in an office long enough to know that the key cards on your neck always have to have a breakaway thing on them?
Mine doesn't. Oh no, I have a retractable deal.
Not on Mars, Derek. Okay, not on Mars. This is completely different here.
Yeah, totally different in the future. But...
Yeah, of course.
I didn't really look at any footage outside of just like a few clips on Twitter. Not because I'm not interested. I'm really looking forward to it. It's like we're just about to get into replaying or finishing the first one, and so it's like, okay, I'll finish that and then I'll look at the footage in depth. But what I did see looked really cool.
Yeah, the grappling hook shotgun is interesting.
It looks like a cool gimmick. It looks like that's the cool gimmick as opposed to Rage 2's boomerang gimmick.
Oh, I like the glaive.
Goodbye,
that's what they call
Chris.
See you, Chris.
Mine.
I'm in the same time zone as him.
You're just more of a man. That's all.
I'm just an idiot. It's like literally the 7th day in a row I'm staying up past midnight for some
Well,
stupid
once we're done talking Doom, we can wrap if you want.
Yeah, but then I have to edit a podcast.
Nah, not tonight.
That sounds like a you problem.
It is a me problem.
Just do the Joe edit, which is like no editing, right?
This one's close to that. I blame Chris for having to walk away.
Okay, so do we have much more to say about Doom other than that it looks awesome?
Yeah, I mean, I wish it was a date, because I still don't have that. But
that's probably next fall release for them. I'm gonna guess, right?
Probably.
Imagine we get another trailer at E3 next year with a date.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, I mean, well, they could do something at the Game Awards, maybe.
That's true.
They've had a pretty big presence at the Game Awards in the past.
Because Rage is early next year, right?
Yeah.
It's like spring, right?
Yes. And Rage doesn't have an official date either.
Mm-hmm.
It's just spring. What else did they show?
Quake
stuff? Quake Champions is free for forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
I'm sure Kevin's happy.
Yeah. I mean, if you love PC first-person shooters, and that's free, that's cool.
It's a fun game. It'd be a really good game if you were getting together with a bunch of friends for a LAN party because it's free.
Mm-hmm.
Back when I could actually stand to play games with bots and I wasn't really playing online, I played a lot of Quake 3 and Unreal Tournament. So it'd be cool to have that again, but with actually people.
But what were you saying? The Glaven? Musty, what were you saying?
Glaive.
The Glaven.
Yeah, from the
Glaven.
Glaven.
Nice lady.
So the glaive is the weapon in Krull, right? That like five armed star.
The
thing.
Predator Boomerang.
Dark Sector. There was
Predator,
a Dark Sector.
Well, no, the Predator disc is different. That's
it's an entirely different thing. It's not in the same universe.
It's like saying it's the same as Xena's thing.
No, I'm just saying. I think that's a cool gimmick. I mean, if that's the gimmick, it's kind of sold me basically because I kind of like juggling people in the air and just whipping it, and I don't know. You can probably shoot while it's doing its thing, and I don't know if you have to catch it. I hope you don't have to catch it. I hope I can just throw it out there and it returns back to me while I'm shooting people.
I'm pretty sure it'll. They don't want to put something that like. It's not Breath of the Wild, right?
Yeah. Which is kind of with, it's interesting with the, now I bet you Sean P1 would say, oh, it's not quite open world with Red Dead Redemption 2. But, because I don't think they pointed out to say, like, you see the top of that mountain, you can go to that. I didn't get that vibe from the Red Dead Redemption 2 trailer.
But here's the thing. Top of that mountain looks better than anything that I saw in Hyrule.
Yeah. But
that shot of him walking like the horse going down the ridge, like unbelievable that's being output on a console.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna. Well, if it's anything like the first one, Rockstar doesn't release a game every year. They release them like every 5 years, basically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there's a reason why Grand Theft Auto 5 has sold almost probably like 100 million copies right now across all platforms.
Yeah.
Every if you look at it, like every month sales, I almost debate buying it again. I think it's like $20 now at Best Buy. And I really enjoyed it, but then again, I think would I play it again? And it looked great on the PS3. So it's kind of like, I really did enjoy it. I don't know if I would replay it again, especially since Red Dead's coming out.
Yeah, I don't know that I would care enough about getting the
like the story
like doing the single player again. Yeah. Like I don't want the online. I really don't care about
I guess I think that's the thing about the Grand Theft Auto games for me. And I always like the fifth one I really did enjoy. I think the single player for it, but with like most Grand Theft Auto games, after you beat it, I just enjoy like dicking around in the game. Just maybe trying to drive your car off of something, or doing all the dumb stuff.
Yeah,
that's all I do in games. I don't beat them. I just do all this dumb stuff.
I mean, but it's fun, right? So,
yes, I agree, definitely.
So, I mean, that's the part of the thing what I like about, especially with Red Dead, and like when they start tying stuff into like with Undead Nightmare too, when you start adding like Sasquatches into the mountains, or like a Chupacabra in Mexico or something like that. That's cool. Like we're going up to try to hunt that stuff down, as opposed to doing a serious story mode. I don't know. It should be fun. Hooray, games.
Woo.
I just it seems like it's maybe this year kind of, I don't know, did this year really start with strong? I think it was just kind of like
Monster Hunter and Shadow of the Colossus remake, and
it just seems like there's bigger gaps this year as opposed to last year.
Yeah,
well, sure.
We got a break.
Yeah, I don't want to break.
I mean, the thing is, there was no. Your next big one was God of War, and then it wasn't really like that massive March, because you had end of February, you had Horizon, and then Zelda and the Switch at the beginning of March.
And then Ultimatos came out after that, directly right after that.
Pam had some words about it on her video.
I'm thinking she loved it.
You should look at the topic for the video.
with but then like I said, it seemed like even like the summer months are strong. This year is just kind of like we know we're getting the fall. The fall's gonna be strong, but next year, looking at the early, first half, of next year, the first quarter of next year, that's gonna be coming out really strong. We got Resident Evil in January, and then you got a whole ton of games in February, where it's almost kind of like, well, what doesn't come out? It's in February, if not March. And then it makes you kind of wonder what's going to come out then after that. You almost kind of wonder with how stacked February is that maybe wouldn't hurt back to push something back to March or April just to see. Yeah. You haven't heard of anything being out at that time. If you're confident in your game, don't release it against some other game that it's getting a lot of publicity.
Mm-hmm. I still think there's a chance. They were talking about this on Unlocked that that Crackdown gets moved up because they've said it's basically done.
Mm-hmm.
It's like why did you bother the formality of delaying it again and making that the story when now at this point they're saying they're done. They're just polishing it now. So maybe they decide to move that into January instead of having it come out on February 22nd, which is going to be an insane day.
Well, you also got to remember too that besides that, there's going to probably be some reveals at the Video Game Awards then too. For what's coming out in 2018. So
2019, you mean?
2019. Yeah.
They're revealing stuff in December for December. It's gonna be a problem.
Taking a quick look, see if I can find what February. Because February was pretty stacked from what I heard at E3.
Yeah, February is Days Gone and
so January right off the start, you have Resident Evil 2 and Kingdom Hearts 3. So I guess GameStop doesn't have much posted on it. I guess maybe just confirm dates because you have Anthem, you have Days Gone.
Yeah, so it's Anthem and Days Gone is that day, and Crackdown at the moment,
and Metro Exodus.
Mm-hmm.
So
Metro Exodus is going to automatically be dead because of that. But the argument that Unlocked was making was that if Crackdown has the most to lose if it's going up against Anthem, because it's kind of sandboxy. The difference is it's mech suits instead, but the type of person who would play Crackdown is probably the similar type of person who might play Anthem.
The thing about it is right here, and if you just I guess look at the release here, you almost wonder, and maybe just because it's BioWare who's doing Anthem, you almost wonder, I guess, if people like Days Gone or Crackdown are waiting to see if Anthem's going to delay itself. Like if they're just want a little bit more polished time or something. Because right now you don't have to. You don't have to back out if you don't want to.
Sure.
But I think it is bad.
They're kind of gambling that Anthem's going to drop to May or something, or March.
Because new IPs generally don't sell well. Like it's usually once you start establishing a franchise when the game starts taking off. Granted, Anthem is a new franchise, but I'm saying like Days Gone, and if you're saying also Crackdown's that same day, and Metro Exodus, it's kind of like, so you have 4 games potentially releasing at the same time. It probably, if you look at March, the only game so far I guess that has a confirmed date for March is Dead or Alive 6. March, give yourself a month because people probably might be done with Anthem. But I guess it doesn't hurt to move yet. You can probably wait to November or December to say before you want to say, "Oh, we're going to push this back another month or two," just for polishing reasons. You can just say that, and no, you'll have way more time to sell your game. But 4 games releasing on the same day is not smart, if you ask me. So,
I mean, the only thing Crackdown would have in its favor is that it would be on Game Pass. So all those Game Pass people can just play Crackdown. They don't need to. They'd have to buy Anthem, or they'd have to buy one of the others, or.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you move now and then what's called Anthem then moves to your date that you moved to in March or something like that, or April,
Well,
then you're like,
I'm thinking Crackdown. They were speculating that Crackdown might even shift into January, or it'd be crazy, but could shift to December.
Do it announce it at the awards. Say it's out, available.
I'd be like,
no.
Oh yeah, Crackdown's out now on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Boom.
I mean, they could do that and then release the physical edition slightly later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It wouldn't hurt them in any way. It's just like,
no,
you just have to subscribe to Game Pass.
The only thing it could do is if the game is bad, which, if they're saying the game is done, then how could it be unless they have testers who are absolute idiots. If the game is done, then, or if they're putting on that third coat of paint to really make it look nice, why not? Why not just flip the switch, turn that on, and be like, hey, physical releases are available on this date, but for now, here's Game Pass, and you know what? 2 weeks free. Boom.
Yeah, it's just like, it's coming out on this date, but I know we know you guys have been waiting a while, so for those of you that has Game Pass, you can play it tomorrow.
Now.
Right. Yeah.
No.
Tomorrow would even be like, oh, they delayed it to tomorrow. Damn it.
It sounds like the Video Game Awards last year took place on December 7th, so it was at the beginning of December. Unlike the CC Awards, which waited to January, I believe, because we want to make sure if it came out in 2017, you played it, Every game
we also need to make sure of we need to decide on early access games. That's just something we need to decide if that'll be in the fold.
Like PUBG, yes.
Or or Fortnite.
Is that an early access game, really? I mean,
it still is, yeah. I mean, it's not.
When you're on season 6, I guess, right?
I mean, it's season 6, but it's not this. It's not an official. It's in this. There's a review.
Of course, because they sell probably Fortnite merchandise there.
Yeah, there's a review of it, and it's there. To me, it's like how can they do a review if? Yeah. It says release July 17th, Save the World, September 17th, Fortnite Battle Royale. So,
Battle Royale. What's the difference?
Well, Save the World is the other mode, the original Fortnite.
So Fortnite was originally like a tower defense kind of
against AIs, basically.
Yeah, that's the mode.
Horde mode.
Played.
It's the mode
that
no one
played.
Exactly.
The one I wanted to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, so there's a 2-page review.
All right, I'm gonna drop out. I gotta finish this podcast.
Yeah, we can wrap.
Yeah, we're talking about Fortnite now. I think we're done.
All right, see you guys.
All right, see ya.
Bye.
That's it.
Yeah.